Hello. What's going on? How we doing today? How we doing? Gooning time. Ah, yes. This is, Goon sesh. Woo! Yeah. No. No, I'm chill. I'm good. I'm into my second beer, and my first beer is very strong, so we're just chilling. We're having a good time. I had a long day of editing. And figured I would wind it down by just hanging out. I wanted to stream. But I also didn't want to play a video game because I'm tired, and I didn't feel like I could properly play a video game. So I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos because why not? I'm gonna become the newest reaction streamer and get so many views. Oh, look at me go. I'm milking my audience for funny revenue. Yeah, look at me go, guys. Taking other people's content and making money off it. Yeah! It's my new foray into the YouTuber career. Don't worry, I'm not doing that. It's a joke. Not actually doing that. Yet another greedy YouTuber. Yet another greedy YouTuber. What do people see in reaction content? Well, the content, really. It's whatever video they're watching. I feel like they mostly just want to watch it for the video itself. Granted, there are some people that I personally like Asmon, for example. I tend to enjoy what he has to add to a video, so I watch him pretty often. So, I feel like if the person has something unique to offer and contribute to a conversation, or a unique opinion or a focus on it, then I think it's pretty cool. Otherwise, like, reaction content where the person is just sitting there and doing nothing, or like, making funny faces and what have you, then it's like, seems silly. Not really doing much, you're just copying and pasting someone else's content into your stream and not doing anything, or not adding anything to it, I should say. Mr. President, a second Grouch rebalance video has hit the player base. Oh no. Oh, Grouch, what did you do this time? Oh god. I already have a video in mind that I'm going to start with, but after that one's done, then I can move on to another, assuming the first one won't take too long, but we'll see. You gonna get a Hassan chair stream? Hold on, I got you covered. I got you covered. The chair stream. Indeed. Chair stream, indeed. Is there not a second Grouch rebalance video? Man, if there's not, there really should be, because that first one was fun. Hit a flex for us? I don't know. I'm still wiry, but you know, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get more muscle mass. Well, I'm going to the gym, man. You know, just get more muscle mass on me. Currently tall and skinny, trying to work on that. I am gaining weight. That's the goal. I am gaining weight. I'm gaining weight at the proper pace. Gaining weight, which is good. Eating more, lifting more. It's going smoothly. How do I get myself to edit my videos? Just start. All you have to do is start. Simple as that. I feel like once you get started on a project, at least for me, it's very hard to stop. And then, like, I just get momentum and I keep going and I keep going and I keep going, so. That's how I operate anyways. Don't dirty bulk? No. I eat very clean. The only thing that's not clean is whenever I have a beer or two in the evening. Otherwise, my diet consists of mostly not shit. Like, you know, animal proteins, freshly cooked, you know, rice is my main form of carbs, beer every now and again for, like, you know, the fun stuff, but otherwise I don't overindulge, in other words. Fish is expensive, and also my family hates it, except for me. Well, my dad and I like fish, but my mom and my sister hate it. And so whenever we cook fish, the entire house smells like fish, so we tend to not eat fish. But any other animal protein is fair game, except fish or seafood. But I love fish. I could eat fish all day, every day, so. I love fish. Specifically, salmon, redfish, drum. Good trout is decent as well. What else do I like? Flounder's hit and miss. Sushi in general is very good. I have yet to come across a piece of sushi I do not like. So. Fried catfish? Oh, sign me up for some fried catfish, dude. Some fried catfish and some hush puppies? Whew. Sign me up. Yes, sir. I don't like scallops. I'm not, so when it comes to shellfish, shrimp is my go-to. I don't like clams. I don't like scallops. I don't like mussels. Oysters, very hit and miss. So, grouper's good. I like grouper. Grouper's very good. Catfish really depends because sometimes it tastes like dirt. It all depends on how you prepare it, my friend. All depends on how you prepare it. What's up? Finally got my own job and card, meaning I ain't broke anymore. Good shit, man. Hopefully things are going smooth for you. Keep it up. I've not had dinner yet, so I'm having a day where I'm not very hungry. So I'm just, hopefully some hunger will hit me. I've also gotten into, I've been drinking protein shakes. I don't know, like, I know there's a very polarizing opinions on protein shakes. I know some people love them, some people hate them. I'm finding it very easy to incorporate a protein shake into my daily routine, so I can actually get more protein into me without having to, like, think about it. I'm just sipping on something as I'm working, which is great for me. So, yeah. Give a stash twirl. Easy. Just drink water. Thing is, I need more protein, man, because the whole point of building muscle is you gotta get roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and I weigh 210 pounds. So I need 210 grams of protein in my body daily, and that's tricky for me, because traditionally, I didn't eat much, like, until I started lifting. I didn't eat much during the day. Breakfast was tiny. Lunch, I would basically rarely eat lunch. If I did, it was like a small sandwich. and then dinner consisted of like meat and vegetables. But now I'm having to completely rework my diet to fit a lot more food in, and also a lot more protein in. And that can be tricky, because I'm still navigating the diet part of this. What made me start my gym journey? I got fed up. I just got kind of tired. I got tired of like my my physique. I'm like, you know what? I can change this. It's I did it once. I can do it again. I got tired of being fat, so I stopped being fat, and now I'm tired of being skinny. And so I'm not gonna be skinny anymore. I'm gonna work on not being skinny. I'm gonna get jacked. However long that takes, that's how it's gonna go. So yeah. You go to the gym daily? I'm starting with 3 times a week. That's my routine. 3 times a week is what I'm doing. No, yeah, like, trust me, like, I'll take being skinny over being fat any day, because I've been there. I used to be obese. It's not fun. It sucks. You feel miserable daily. You're oh god, just I never ever want to go back to that period of my life. Jesus, horrible time. But now I gotta get jacked. I gotta get some muscle. You know, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. If you wear the right glasses, you look like Sniper from TF2. I have been called so many things because I wear these glasses. I could just not wear them. I don't need them, dude. They're just blue lights. My vision is mostly fine. I don't need them, but I wear them because I stare at a computer screen all day. But I've been called many things. So I've been called many things because of my glasses. Okay, so we're looking at YouTube videos today because someone wanted me to watch this one, and we're gonna watch it. It is called Gaming Conservatism and Team Fortress 2. This should be an interesting video. I've seen 30 seconds of this, and I'm like, you know what? Sure, let's take a look. Why not? This should be scintillating. Also, I'll turn on closed captions because I feel like that's going to be a requirement for something like this. What do I think about Deadlock? It's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me at all. All right, shall we begin? Shall we start? Do I think Deadlock is bad? It's not for me. I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's just, it's not for me. I'm not big on MOBAs, so it doesn't scratch the itch I look for a game, so I used to be much more, I used to have a much stronger negative view on it, but like, Valve seems on the ball doing things with it, so I'm gonna leave it be. I'm not gonna focus on it too much. It's just not my kind of game, so I'm not gonna play it. Alright, shall we start? We'll see if the volume's good.
Isn't fun anymore is a sentiment we can see repeated a lot throughout gaming communities nowadays, especially Minecraft, for example. Many seem to think that instead of evolving as a game continuously receiving updates should, Minecraft has strayed too far from its original identity, losing nearly all essence of what made it fun to begin with.
I wouldn't say that's true at all. I'd say the biggest problem with Minecraft is the bloat. Like, guys, it's maxed out. All of my volumes are maxed out. This guy's video is just really, really low. He did not properly adjust his volumes at all. It's as high as it goes. I'm sorry. That's why I have closed captions turned on. So I apologize. But anyways, I think my issue with Minecraft is they just started adding too much stuff. It doesn't detract. It does detract from how you play the game a little bit. What the problem with Minecraft is that the pacing has been completely thrown out the window, because now you get to the end game so quickly. You can get to the end game within about a day, at most, a few hours if you really try to push yourself, you know what I mean? But they've added so many features into the game that get you to the end game so quickly that you're not really taking your time with it. there's no real inherent risk with Minecraft anymore. So, I don't know. I don't like the way Minecraft's been taken after it got out of its betas, and I just play it very infrequently now as a result. So, let me see if I can do something about this. Can I add a filter? Let me see, filter. Can I add a gain to this? Gain. Let's bring that up a few decibels.
People have been picking
Is that
apart
better?
every far from its original identity,
Is that better?
losing nearly all essence of what made it fun to begin with. People have been picking apart everything they believe shouldn't have changed about the game, from the new cave generation system to the insanely new rare mobs, down to the new songs and artists.
There are too many mobs in Minecraft. I think any longtime fan of Minecraft can agree that there are too many mobs that serve no real purpose. Not that they need to serve a purpose, but it's just too much. I think it's kind of a sign of a larger issue that there's just too much stuff being put in the game, which is a side effect of games being kept alive for too long. It's like, okay, there's a point when you should stop adding things. Minecraft is a perfect example of this. What am I looking at? I don't even know what this is. Is this in the game? Or is this a mod? Is this a mod or is this in the game? I could not tell you because I can't keep track anymore. What the fuck am I looking at? Is this real? Someone explain this to me like I'm a child. Is this real? It's called... There's no way this is called the sniffer. Is this real? It's called a sniffer. What is this? What happened to this fucking game? Holy God. I'm 30 seconds in and I'm already kind of blown away. I am... Woof. What is it meant to be? Anyway, I think many of us can agree that they've just put too much stuff in the game. A lot of extraneous nonsense that doesn't need to be in the game. You lose your charm when you throw too much stuff in.
Working on the soundtrack. All this apparently being the fault of lazy, dumb, Zoomer Mojang employees who don't understand what makes the game as good as we do. The other Zoomers who played it since release. I may not know.
Just for the record, I'm not a Zoomer. I played the game since release, and I'm 30. I am not Gen Z. And I can still acknowledge that there is something wrong with adding a whole bunch of stuff. Is he really just going to dismiss any concerns brought forward with how the game's being handled as writing it off as a whole bunch of Zoomers complaining about it? Is he just going to leave it at that and not, like, give a proper, like, refutation as to why people are concerned with the amount of stuff being thrown into the game? Is he just going to leave it at that? Let's find out. Thing is, yes, I agree. They are lazy. Because they could do new, intuitive, and creative things with this game, but all they're willing to do is throw more cosmetic stuff into the game, more mobs into the game that don't really have any influence or impact on how you engage with the world as a whole. It just feels like more fluff added to it to keep people engaged and interested because that's all they can do. Seems like the same fate many other video games face. Well, I will say, listen, don't get me wrong. Some stuff they've added has been cool and has added to the gameplay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not writing off everything that's been done to Minecraft after it got out of beta. Don't get me wrong, but it certainly, I would say, a majority of what they've added after that point is too much fluff. It's too much fluff. Main issue is the updates literally being unrelated to each other entirely, like they set up the skulk and stuff with the deep dark biome, but they don't build upon stuff with the next update. Yeah, it's a hodgepodge of stuff again to keep people interested. Tons of big gaming companies ignore actual gamers. Toxic positivity is real in most gaming companies. No, yeah, I've been seeing that. I've been seeing some interesting stuff, like Concord, for example, was a strong victim of toxic positivity, where if anyone came forward with a concern or they thought something was wrong with that game, then they were just dismissed because no one can do no wrong. This is fine. Let's just keep going. You know, full steam ahead, doesn't matter, no concerns. No, yeah, there was a video I saw recently of a guy that interviewed someone that worked on the Concord team, and apparently toxic positivity was a big issue with the development of that game, and because, like, they just would not hear any criticisms, la 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 la, everything's fine, no no no, we're doing good work, it ended up being shit. So, didn't Concord die because it was like $30? No, it died because it was a bad game. They made a bad game that appealed to no one. It peaked at 600 players, and it cost... who made it? Sony? It cost them $500 million. It cost them $500 million and almost a decade's worth of development time to earn less than 0.5% of their investment back. And not even that, because they refunded everyone who bought the game. So... that's what happens when you don't listen to concerns brought up about the products being developed. Just, you know, maybe you want to listen to concerns. Maybe you want to listen to the markets you're trying to appeal towards. It's just me, man. I don't know. Anyway.
So much about Minecraft's current development and all the inner workings of a company like Microsoft, but I think it's fair to say that these gaming discussions tend to lead to some rather bizarre and reductive conclusions. The idea that things were better before and something is wrong now is not a new concept, nor is it revolutionary, and often is easily taken down by the fact that most people parroting these arguments have either outgrown the games they enjoyed when they were 14 and are solely running on nostalgia, or actively refuse.
There it is. It's just nostalgia. It couldn't have been better back in the day. You're just looking through rose-tinted glasses. Oh my god. Okay, so that just shows to me that they have no real counter-argument that older forms of Minecraft did perform better, were more engaging, were more interesting. No, it's just nostalgia. It's just nostalgia, guys. It's just nostalgia. It's not... there's no actual real concerns being brought forward with how Minecraft is being handled, or its current development direction. You just don't understand Microsoft. You know, the company that's been scooping up other development firms, other development groups, and then shutting them down. They've consistently not made any good games in a long time. It's just, you know, just trust Minecraft. They know what just trust Microsoft. They know what they're doing. They're fine. You know, you just don't get it. It's just nostalgia. Just rose-tinted glasses. Leave the multi-billion-dollar company alone.
Used to explore different avenues like indie games to truly find something they might enjoy.
Just play something else. Just don't listen. Don't ask questions. Don't worry about your game being bastardized or turned inside out. Have no concerns with the development direction of the piece of media you've invested yourself in. Just go play something else. Just go elsewhere. Don't worry about the game or space you've loved for so long being twisted and warped into something else. Just go consume something else. Like all other surface level enjoyers of all other content, because clearly that's what this person is. That's what I'm getting so far anyways. No, yeah, and you're right, Richter. It's really hilarious to apply this to a game like Minecraft, where it's very well documented that the people developing it are not the people who created the game. So,
See, that's easy to say about games like Call of Duty, for example, but what about games that are truly just unique?
Call of Duty's gone down the shitter too. I gotta get my Nicki Minaj, gotta get my Lil Rizzy skins, compare Call of Duty now to what it was 15 years ago. Not even the same game. It's crazy.
Team Fortress 2 is one of the greatest online multiplayer video games ever made.
Yes.
And with other games like Overwatch coming so close to becoming the best possible modern take on the gameplay, only to crumble under terrible balancing decisions and the evil lurking within the company that owns it, I feel TF2 will continue to be one of the greatest.
I don't think Overwatch got close. I don't think Overwatch got close. I think it's a completely different sphere and type of game. I wouldn't You have unique characters, but just because they have unique characters doesn't mean that they were on par with each other. Just we're gonna leave that alone. Overwatch is a very different. It appeals to a very different audience, I will say. I'll just leave that over there. Yeah, not even close. Not even close.
For decades to come. Of course, over the last 17 years of its lifetime, TF2 has also had its fair share of bad balance changes and company controversies.
Yes.
Some might say it was actually much worse in some ways. I mean, TF2 literally went through a 5-year-long cheater bot infested update.
8. Not 5. 8 years. Not 5 years. We need to reinforce this. We need to make sure everyone understands that it was 8 years since within a week after Meet Your Match launched, bot lobbies became common in Team Fortress 2, and people just forgot about that. People just forgot. It's only, it's only 5 years, then it was only 4 years, and then maybe only 2 or 3 were, but no. 8 years. 8 years. We were dealing with bots in some capacity.
Drought. It seriously can't get any worse than that, and yet Team Fortress 2 still pulls great player numbers, especially after a revised summer update and the addition of zombie infection in 2023's Hal.
Does he know that the surge in players was all bots? I don't think he knows. Because if he's referring to Summer 2023, and if he's referring to Scream Fortress 2023, those surges in player numbers, as I've heavily shown, are not real. Those are bots. Those are not actual players. If you go look at server activity, the uptick in players is very minimal, nigh non-existent. Not to say that there isn't one, but it's very small. And to also cite zombie infection as the reason why TF2 would start seeing more players, when the update that brought zombie infection introduced the game mode as a buggy, broken, borderline unplayable mess that went through a series of balance changes to bring it into a remotely tolerable state that only appealed to a handful of players by the time it was made playable, really not seeing that as the primary thing that would bring people back into Team Fortress 2. That's just me. That's just me.
Halloween event. So what's the secret? How does a game like TF2 still manage to retain a solid player base over almost 2 decades later?
The game is
and
good.
How will it continue to do so?
Because the game is good. Team Fortress 2 is a beautifully crafted game with some of the most addictive, engaging gameplay that you can get out of any fucking video game. That is why people still play it. That's why I've been here for almost half of my life playing this fucking game. Because the game is good. That is why people still play it. Also, it's free. If the game wasn't free, there'd be a lot fewer people playing it. That is a fact.
In the future? Well, some would say that it's because TF2 has always stuck to its core gameplay principles and by finally keeping its artistic integrity in order. Okay, well, not exactly. I've been lying to you a little bit. As much as we love to compare the two, Team Fortress is absolutely not comparable to something like Overwatch anymore. While most
Anymore? It was never comparable to Overwatch, other than the fact that both games had a roster of unique characters. It was never comparable. Like, I think most people would agree on that it was only comparable on that it was a team-based shooter with unique characters. Overwatch was an imitation, the devs say it. That they did. I do remember that.
live service games remain fully in control of their company and developers as updates get put into the game, TF2 has almost always relied on community contributions to fill out its updates. In fact,
that is true.
The first community-made maps to be officially added into the game date back to 2008.
Yes, that is true.
If you know anything about Valve's history,
99% of content put into Team Fortress 2 has been community-made. That is true.
This comes as no surprise. Hell, Team Fortress was originally just a Quake mod. At the time, Valve cared more than most video game companies about giving the players the tools to be creative, whether it's through Source Filmmaker for animation.
Okay, so are you just gonna reduce the game into, oh, it was just a mod for Quake, and then leave it at that? Are you going to completely dismiss that Team Fortress 2 went through over 10 years of development to create the amazing game that it is today? Are you just gonna dismiss that and only write it off as a mod that Valve intended for people to make their own content for and just leave it at that? So I say over 10 years, right? Because there was 9 years of development time, and then after the game released, there was about 2 or 3 more years of them continuing to update the game and like fix balance changes, add new things to keep people interested. I go into more depth than that in my next video, don't worry. But effectively a decade solid of development on Team Fortress 2. Are we just gonna dismiss that? We're not gonna mention it?
The Hammer editor for map making, or the addition of the Steam Workshop.
So here's the thing, man. So if we're going all the way back to the Quake days, all the way back to Quake and back to Quake Team Fortress, yes, there was absolutely a scene of community-made content. Community-made maps and mods were very much alive even all the way back then. And allowing for the players to adjust and curate their own experiences has always been baked into the Team Fortress experience, even back when it was a Quake mod, and all the way to today. That is an integral part of Team Fortress 2, period. Hence things like community servers, hence things like custom maps, what have you. That's always been part of Team Fortress 2, plain and simple. No, and the game didn't have community-made content at launch, but what it did have was only community servers. And very quickly, people started making their own content to operate and run on their own servers. And that was basically the norm for the first 4 years of TF2's lifespan, was a lot of community servers running community-made content, and in addition to whatever Valve shipped with the base game. So, like DM Mario Kart was made within the first year of TF2's launch. Think about that shit.
Which allowed people to submit their very own modeled cosmetic items to be put into the game. This, of course...
So we're also going to dismiss the fact that before the workshop the workshop didn't exist until 2011? I think it's 2011. So Valve didn't introduce the workshop. Mind you, that was specifically for Team Fortress 2, and then Valve allowed for it to evolve to other video games. But Valve would piecewise purchase content made by other people and then put it into the game first. And then Valve, as they gradually realized, oh shit, the players have a much higher eye for quality, have a much higher eye for detail, and can make much more content than we can keep up with. So we're going to rely on our players to make the content for us. That relationship between Valve and TF2 players was established very, very early on. Just need to clarify that.
Spawned an insanely lively community. Team Fortress 2 was no longer a game, but instead a genuine hobby. If you're into TF2, there's a very, very, very strong chance that you also create stuff. Videos, posters, art, anything, no matter the quality. TF2 makes you more than a regular player. And to some people, this can be a bad thing.
So, I don't like the generalization of oh, if you make stuff for the game, people think you're bad. So he's already setting this, what's the word? Not slippery slope, not red herring, but there's already a fallacy baked in there where if you make content for the game, there is this mysterious subset of the player base that automatically assumes you're bad, when no one thinks this way. There isn't a single person playing Team Fortress 2 that views someone that makes content related to the game as inherently bad. So already we have this massive generalization. I can already see where this video is going. I can already predict what this is going to do. Yeah, straw man, thank you. So yeah, we have the straw man successfully built, where there is now this mysterious subset of the player base that will automatically hate you if you make content for the game. So, let's see where this goes. We have the shaky foundation already set based off of a lie, because it's not true. Let's continue.
So TF2 belongs to the people. That's great. But
Oh god. Well, that went from 0 to 100 really quickly. Yeah, no. TF2 belongs to Valve. Valve, for most of TF2's lifespan, set the standards, set precedent for quality control, filtered what was allowed to go into the game and what was not. It does not belong to the players. It is Valve's intellectual property. They run the show. What the players do is they make the content for the game, and then Valve selects it piecewise and then retroactively adds it. This game does not belong to the players. Simple as.
how can we be sure that the game's audience really knows what's best? This is essentially how this gaming conservatism works for TF2.
How do we assume? So the question is, how do we know what the audience thinks is best for the game? You can very much look at the normal vanilla game without all of the stuff added later on. There's very clear intentional direction with TF2's visuals, TF2's tone, TF2's stylization. These are all things, and also TF2's gameplay, class interactions, visuals, readability, all of these things are definitive set standards that shipped with the vanilla game. Yes, thank you, Richter. It is one of the most deliberate and refined games ever created. These are objective rules that were set by the developers. That is how one can view a piece of content or view something done for the game and can look at it and go, this does or does not fit with Team Fortress 2. That is how we can determine whether or not something is appropriate for the game. It's not a matter of conservatism. It's a matter of just making sure it fits okay enough within the game.
Although one might say this is not a valid worry to have, because every community-made asset that gets into the game has to be reviewed and approved by a Valve employee in charge of keeping these updates on track. So let's take a look at the couple of community additions that go against the game's core gameplay principles and artistic integrity. We'll be focusing on the latter for now, since this is one of the most direct.
So, something else about this is that the people who've been selecting the content for the game have changed over the years. The people who originally selected the content primarily consisted of the people that made the games themselves and were involved with the game's development. As time went on, when these people left the company, when these people were fired from the company, that responsibility went to other people who were not responsible for TF2's visuals, who were not responsible for TF2's gameplay, and had to make these decisions without that experience, without that intention, and without that direction. And so what he's going to do is he's going to bring in several things that Valve made, or several things that Valve added, and he's going to say, oh, Valve added this, therefore it's okay. I guarantee you that argument will be made. Let's see.
Ways a player can contribute. Look, we've all seen Funk's Death of an Art Style before, but it's pretty clear that this mindset was mostly based on this video at first. While I personally agree that crates suck, most unusuals are ugly, and items descriptions were cool, like, seriously, what happened to them? I'm not fully on board with everything else in this video. While yes, Team Fortress 2 letting players mix up and paint their cosmetics as they want to can lead to some very distractingly ugly loadouts.
So here's the thing, man. When it comes to shitty cosmetics, right? When you incorporate something that is in direct violation of the game's tones, themes, and stylization, it sticks out like a sore thumb. It very clearly does not belong. And it detracts from the experience that the developers wanted for the players to have. To have a giant fluorescent lime green loadout put in the game, that's not... What does that add? What does that add to the experience? It adds nothing other than creating dopamine for the person that purchased the microtransactions. And nothing more. If anything, it only detracts from the game, right? Because what happens is it adds distracting visuals. It adds visual noise to a video game that was inherently designed to be clear and readable. You can say that they're ugly, but it goes so much further beyond simply being ugly. Because if you call something ugly, there must be a standard for which that beauty must abide by. And what is that beauty? The very clear and intentional direction the developers had for the game's tones, themes, and stylization. I think most of us could agree on that. Hell, even Robin Walker, one of the guys who originally, he fucking made Quake Team Fortress, one of the guys that made Quake Team Fortress, later on went to make the game. He cites that if he was still working on TF2, he would have not let that banana hat get added to the game. That is proof right there that there are different people working on Team Fortress 2 that did not make the game, that do not care about preserving the very intentional direction the game had during its development and in the initial years of its release.
That's all they are in the end, ugly loadouts. Most of the art style complaints I see thrown at TF2's recent editions almost always omit the fact that these are simply ugly and insanely expensive loadouts that...
I don't think people are complaining about the price. I think these things are not mutually exclusive. A cosmetic can be fucking ugly without it being expensive. I'm not sure why that point was brought up. Strange point to bring up.
Only an infinitely small fraction of the player base is willing to wear. Sure, clipping is an issue, and I agree that Valve should have been and still should be more careful when implementing these things into the game. But on the other hand, these complaints...
So you admit that Valve should be careful. Let's remember this. Let's remember this.
Take it to an unrealistic level by suggesting that a majority of fellow human beings capable of utilizing their brains will look at this and say, I want my set to look like this. I must either get really lucky with opening crates or directly spend an absurd amount of money. Team recognition being...
So, a lot of people want their loadouts to look like that. Have any of you been inside of a trade server? There are a non-zero number of people that specifically want loadouts and cosmetics like this. I'm not sure why they wrote them off this early on. Just, I find that interesting. And now we're suddenly on team recognition. We're on a different track here. What's happening? It seems like he's very salty about traders, because the flashier items tend to be more expensive. It seems like he can't afford them and is upset by that fact. So, that's what I'm getting off of this. So, he's bringing up team recognition. Let me just state for the record that there is no serious argument against team recognition. If this person brings up an argument against team recognition, I feel like we can immediately disregard the rest of the video. Do you want to place your bets? Do you want to place your bets? Is this person going to provide a counter argument to something about team recognition? I feel like we could probably place some bets on this one. I have a nagging suspicion they're gonna have a counter argument against team recognition. I'm betting my wife. If I had one, I would do the same. The counter argument will be, who cares, just use nameplates. Yeah, I'll place my bets on that as well. Either that or just shoot someone. Let's find out.
Another concern that I have seen pop up again within the community a couple months ago is, in my opinion, completely taken out of proportion. It's really not worth taking that seriously. Of course,
In my opinion, if something is directly violating the basic principles for gameplay, you cannot take it out of proportion enough. If something has even the slightest chance of infringing on how the game is meant to be played, then you cannot speak loudly enough about it. That's what I think. Clearly, this person does not. This is some donations, I apologize. Gaming, thank you. $2, this video mentioned slurs in some capacity, maybe. And then George Liquor, your art style team recognition video honestly is inspiring as an artist and taught me more about art and design than any video on YouTube. Thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate the donation. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, it's, yeah, you're right, Norn. Why do you care? That's, I'm getting that sensation from this.
it would be terrible if items allowed you to paint them in such a way as to fool the enemy team that you are actually on their team. It would completely ruin the point of the game.
Yes.
But as of right now, this is truly only the case for 2 or 3 loadouts, and even then...
It is not 2 or 3. There are a lot more loadouts than just 2 or 3 where you can really screw with somebody. There's a lot of combinations of cosmetics and paints that you can use to fuck with team recognition, and it's only gotten worse as the years went on. You cannot dismiss this as just 2 or 3. That is simply incorrect.
You would really need to make a big reach to make me think otherwise. I mean, really, when are you ever going to look at a heavy from this specific angle?
Here's the thing, man. Someone will look at that heavy from that angle. Having the high ground and looking down on someone is one of the most common things you will do in Team Fortress 2. In my video, I specifically say that the character models are colored in such a way that it does not matter. From any angle you're looking at someone, you should be able to tell what team someone is on, even if the angle is supposedly infrequent. If it can happen during gameplay, you need to be able to tell what team someone is on. You cannot simply dismiss this as like, oh, it doesn't happen that often, therefore it's okay. Yeah, this video was made, apparently it was uploaded 5 hours ago, apparently.
The only answer I can think of is if you were a soldier bombing in with the airstrike.
What is high ground? What is high ground? What is going on? What is going to upward second? What is going to upward second and being on the red team, being in the little shack area on the left side, being on that upper platform and like shooting down on the other team, right? Like what is, think about the infinite number of high ground scenarios that there are in Team Fortress 2, excluding rocket jumping, where you're looking at someone from top down. Where high ground and getting the high ground is an integral part of the gameplay? No, sorry, it only happens when you're rocket jumping. Basically every map, yeah.
Where even then it wouldn't really matter if you saw this heavy in the crowd you went to fire at anyways. This fear of...
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In your mind, oh, I don't have to worry about this heavy. I'm focusing on the other people around him. But then, oh shit, I died to the heavy that I thought I was on my team. No, it's fine. Because, you know, it's not that common. What an argument.
Of team recognition being violated also relies heavily on the assumption that a majority of other players seek out to do this on purpose to get an advantage over you.
Hence, why most people...
Here's the thing, man. Oh, shit, he's using my video. Shocker. Here we go. This is why it was made. I saw this coming. This is why it was made. This is why it was made. Here's the thing, man. It doesn't matter. If it can be done at all. It doesn't matter how many people are doing it. It doesn't matter the level of intention. It should not happen ever. Period. If there is the slightest chance that a cosmetic and paint combination can detract from the bare bones basics of gameplay, it should not be in the game. Can someone please provide a serious refutation to that argument, other than, I like the way the cosmetics look? Or, it doesn't happen that often. And it shouldn't happen, ever. Someone please provide a serious refutation to this argument. I would love to see one. Spending money on you because you're wise like Jesus. I'm not Jesus, but I appreciate it. Look like Jesus? Maybe. And people throw rocks at you nonetheless for reason like Jesus. Jesty Jesus. Thank you for the money. I appreciate it. People being dubious on the internet for explicit detriment to others? Impossible. What? People lying on the internet? What? Oh, God.
People do shit like this. They dye a whole pyro set Mango orange and another color similar to slate, and then wear them on the opposite teams. And man, does this fuck with people.
In fact, no, most players don't spend money on a pair of the same ugly cosmetic set.
It doesn't matter if most people don't. The fact that some players do, and the fact that it can be done, that is the problem. It should never happen. Ever. It should not even be possible inside of Team Fortress 2. It's like saying, oh, sometimes the sniper is allowed to shoot through walls. But because it doesn't happen that often, therefore it's okay. And only because some people manage to figure this out, therefore... It's like exploiting bugs. You know, it's like people who go out of their way to try to find and break the game, right? Here. Oh, because only a handful of people know how to clip underneath the map. It's only like 3 or 4 people. But because some people know how to do this, it's only a few people, therefore it's okay. That's the logic this person is using. Yeah, it should not, it's a rule. There should be no exceptions to the rule.
And 6 paint buckets to increase their likelihood to win a game of bad water. Most players were...
It's a non-argument. You're simply dismissing the fact that it is a problem.
Cosmetic sets they've built themselves over time that they think makes them look more unique and not to gain a competitive advantage.
Ah, there we go. There it is. There's the argument. I knew this was coming. I just like the way it looks. I just like the way it looks. I think it looks cool. Therefore, it's okay. These people spent time building these loadouts. Clearly. Therefore, it's fine.
Over you. While yes, you are likely to run into this very pyro one day, and I agree that these cosmetics should receive some kind of fix or restrictions to their paintable regions,
then why make the argument in their favor when you concede that this is a problem? What?
That's all there is to it. But why am I still talking about this if these videos just want to get the word out about these problematic loadouts? Where's the part that's really being taken out of proportion here? In this video on the team recognition issue, TF2 YouTuber ZestiJesus repeatedly seems to put the blame for these essentially broken cosmetic sets onto the workshop creators instead of the developers in charge of implementing them into the game properly.
Hopefully this will raise a little red flag.
Here we go. So, seems like to me that we now have another mouthpiece for the workshop. We've now reduced all of this into zesty bullying workshoppers. Before we get into whatever they're saying, my stance is, and has always been, there are equal parts of responsibility between Valve and the workshoppers. I have consistently maintained this since I started speaking about any issues with cosmetics being added to Team Fortress 2. It is equal parts Valve and the workshoppers. Valve, very obviously, sets the standards. They should be paying attention to their own game. But if you're making items for Team Fortress 2, you must pay attention to the game you're making items for. If you are directly violating the bare bones basics of gameplay, you are not paying attention to the game you're making items for, and in my eyes, you do not care about the game. That's my stance.
Like to Valve saying, hey guys, maybe you should stop adding items like this, and maybe it'll be a swift kick to the dick for
Note that I said Valve. Hey, Valve, stop adding items. We're just going to dismiss that I acknowledge Valve as a part of this equation as well. We're just going to ignore that.
shoppers. Hey dipshits, maybe you should actually pay attention to the game you're making items for. That'd be a pretty good thing to do, I'd say. TF2's tones and themes and stylistic and design elements, especially those that define and control the gameplay, must not change. Especially not on the whims of those who want to make money off the game's cosmetic features.
Ooh, I'm a millionaire for making that one boot on Pyro's head. Ooh, okay, so now we're doing this reductionist thing again, where this person is making it seem as if though money is not an incentive for making cosmetic items, when if you go inside of these workshop discords, if you look at the screenshots that I've posted on more than one occasion, many workshoppers, some of the biggest names in the workshop creation scene, explicitly do this for the money. Money comes first for many of these creators. And they make a pretty penny too. If you get a single item in Team Fortress 2, here, I'll give you a direct figure. How's this sound? I'll give you a direct figure. I know a workshopper who's got war paints put in the game. He got a couple of war paints added back in the summer. He made a collective of about $7,500 in the first month of his cosmetics being added into the game. And that's two. Cut that in half, about, $3,250 for a single item within the first month, mind you, of a single cosmetic being added into the game. And the people that I tend to be referring to tend to get more than one added into the game per year, usually 4, 5, 6. They depend on this money. That is their livelihood. Their motivation is the money. Now, this is not me saying that all workshoppers, that all people that make content for this game, that their primary motivation is money first and caring about the game third. That is not what I'm saying. There is a huge volume of people that make content for this game because they love this game. They care about the game, they want to make amazing content for it, and the problem is that Valve tends to not focus on those people and that amazing content. They tend to go back to the same creators over and over and over again. And a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, care about the money first. So to simply dismiss this as like, oh, it's millions, that's not millions, obviously. But you're dismissing this as if though money is not a factor, when it is very much a serious factor. Probably the biggest factor nowadays.
Preserving TF2's visual nature isn't some contrarian act I perform out of spite. I love this game, but I'm tired of seeing it bastardized by people who take no interest in where this game came from.
Very funny to empty your entire grenade launcher clip on your ally because you can't instantly see if they're an ally or not. It doesn't happen that often, so it's fine. It's not often, so therefore don't worry about it. That's the logic this person is using. Yeah, 7,500, not 75,000, 7,500. I apologize. Also, my internet is shitting the bed. I don't know what's happening. I have to scream at my ISP, but if my connection dies, I apologize.
I can't be the only one who thinks this is weird, right? At some point,
Oh, it's just weird.
he even shows how easy it would be to add a blue variant of this war paint, and like, wouldn't you agree that this should have been the job of the TF2 team developer whose job it is to put it into the game to add?
So, no one is saying that Valve shouldn't have done this. Like, very obviously, if Valve saw that war paint, they should have gone out of their way to make their own variant. Valve did this. They actually did this. You may remember the Health in Hell war paint. It's not a good skin. But they went out of their way to make a team-colored variant of that skin. Because there was a blue version, but they wanted a red version. So they made their own red version. But the problem is that that should also come from the person making the item themselves. They should have the bare bones basic understanding of how this game functions and realize, oh, if someone's carrying a big red gun and they're on blue team, that might fuck with some people. Because that means they've paid attention to the game. And they might think to themselves, yeah, sure, maybe I should make a team variant of this.
At this, after all, the workshop is just supposed to be a fun place for creative players to submit their fan creations with a small potential of it being added into the game.
Here we go. There's that nice reductive argument. It's just a creative place. It's just where people are having fun. You know, it's totally not this platform that was specifically made for content to be uploaded to be considered as official additions into the game. A video game with very specific tones, themes, and stylistic direction. Where if you're making content for this game with very clear and explicit standards set by Valve, they did indeed create their own rules for what would and would not be considered as acceptable for the game. But over the years, Valve decided to not adhere to their own rules because the people who worked on this game and the people who cared about this game and its original tones, themes, and stylization either left or were fired. So whoever came in to fill their hole, to fill in that vacuum, they didn't care because they don't have the understanding of what is or is not appropriate. Therefore, I guess no one's responsible now. The responsibility is just gone. It's reductive. It's all reductive. All of this is reductive. The specific intention of uploading something to the workshop is so it will be added into the game and so that you will be paid for it. It is not your portfolio.
And anyone is allowed to make a submission, right?
Yes.
Well, some would disagree. In fact, following the years of Valve's absence and responsibilities,
Anyone is allowed to make a submission. You can make a piece of content for the game and put it on the workshop right now. That's how it's always functioned.
quietly passing on to the community, many began to see the workshop as the new arbiters of all things TF2. It wasn't a place to share your creations with your fellow TF2 players, no. If you post something on the workshop,
It was never this. The workshop was never a place to share your creations with other fellow TF2 players. People have warped it to become that. A lot of people think that's what it's for. But when the workshop was officially added, it was like on the fucking announcement page. Make items, get paid. Make items, get paid. Get your content accepted into the game, get paid. If you want to share your creations with other people, there are modding websites. Thank you, Richter. There is Game Banana. There are other modding websites you can use. This is not what the workshop was for. From day one, this is not what the workshop was for. It was for making content to get accepted as official additions into the game, and so you get paid. If you view it as anything other than that, you are a fool.
you are taking the stance of a professional game designer and you fully believe that your item is to be implemented into the game. This is frankly you are taking the stance of a well, some would disagree. In fact, following the years of Valve's absence and responsibilities quietly passing on to the community,
No responsibilities have been passed to the community. I needed to rewind on it. What responsibilities have been passed to the community? This has been the same relationship since 2008. Nothing has changed. In my eyes, nothing has changed.
many began to see the workshop as the new arbiters of all things TF2. It wasn't a place to share your creations with your fellow TF2 players, no. If you post something on the workshop, you are taking the stance of a professional game designer and you fully believe that your item is to be implemented into the game.
Yes. That's what the workshop is for. I don't see how that could be anything else. That is why you upload something to the workshop, so it can be considered as an official addition into Team Fortress 2. Yeah, and Valve has also never passed the responsibility to the community, ever.
This is frankly a terrible way to see the workshop and its hundreds of thousands of creators, since there are
Hundreds of thousands of creators? I assume they meant to say creations. There's not hundreds of thousands of creators. There might be tens of thousands if you're pushing it, but I would not say hundreds of thousands. I could be proven wrong, but I do not think there are hundreds of thousands of creators. Maybe tens of thousands. Maybe 10,000.
so many people submitting their very first hats and the odd unfinished map here and there, and a lot of joke.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I would say the majority of content added to the workshop, especially after 2015, after 2014, 2015, most of the content put on the workshop is pretty baked, pretty well thought out, pretty well fleshed out by people with experience. There are some new people that come in here and there, but the workshop sphere has largely been dominated by about the same 50 people for about the past decade, more or less.
Submissions just so that it's handy to download them from the workshop.
So here's the thing. I will acknowledge, putting your files on the mostly maps, because you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty sure if you upload a cosmetic to the workshop, you can't download it. But if you upload a map, yes, you can download it. But that doesn't mean that that is the purpose of the workshop. The purpose of the workshop, and also, maps and cosmetics are two very different things. Very different things. Obviously, a map, you should be allowed to download it and test it out and play on it. And that's also always been part of Team Fortress 2 since day one. People being able to host their own servers, upload whatever maps they want so they can play on them. Cosmetics are a different story. Those originally started as mods, right? And then Valve realized, oh, we can cash in on those mods. So on and so forth. Maps and cosmetics are two very different things. It's also not the original purpose of the workshop. The original purpose of the workshop is, again, put content on, get accepted into game, get paid for it. From day one, that is explicitly what Valve said the workshop is for. It is not for sharing your content. It's not for showing it to other people. It's for putting it on there, and so it could be considered as an official addition to the game. And on this content, say yes or no, the player base can share their opinions, say whether or not they like the content, say whether or not they think it's acceptable for the game or not. It is not for sharing your content. It is for content that is to be considered as an official addition. I am a broken record, I understand.
Big Valve sees an unfinished submission and decides to put it into the game without giving it the proper fixes it needs beforehand. The fault shouldn't fall on the workshopper.
And this is where I blame both Valve.
Yes, it should. It's both Valve and workshoppers. It's not one or the other. You have to understand that if you're putting something on the workshop, it can be considered as an official edition. And especially now, where Valve does not care about this game beyond taking the money from it. You have to be very careful.
And the map creator. Valve, for even thinking that this map could be fixed to their standards in 4 days. This at least gives them the benefit of the doubt, and makes it sound like they were at least aware of the issues.
And something else. Do you know what Valve does when they accept a map into the game? Do you know what they do? They contact the workshoppers, usually 2 weeks in advance. And do you know what they tell the workshoppers? Get your map ready for addition. They put the responsibility on them to get their map ready for the game. So that's Valve also explicitly stating that the people making the content are also responsible for its quality. That is from the source, and they still do that with maps. Not with cosmetics, don't get me wrong. Cosmetics are, again, a different beast. But with maps, that is Valve explicitly placing the responsibility on the people who make them. If you want to check out TF2, How Did We Get Here? It talks about the bloated state of the game. Potentially after this one, yes.
And to the map creator, who thought that this map could be fixed in 4 days.
Also, when this... So, like, here's something else, man. The guy who made this map threw it on the workshop because he said, fuck it, this is a fun thing. This is an instance where it's Valve's fault. Wholly. Like, Valve should not have put Whatville in the game. Like, this guy in this instance has no responsibility because this is very clearly a map that was not intended to be put into the fucking video game. But Valve saw this and went, fuck it, that's great, put it in. So I cannot blame the Whatville creator in any capacity.
He passes.
But for other maps, many other maps that were explicitly made and very clearly intended to be added as official... Look at you, ICS, with your shitty maps. Very clearly intended to be official additions into the game, and they are still shit. That's on you.
Off everything as not having time before release, and how he didn't even have any of the tools or map files ready. And yet he full well knew that this map had never been finished, let alone tested. And yet both parties agreed to this in the end.
Wouldn't it be fair to assume that
The creator could have also said no. I have to put that on him. If he could acknowledge that his map was not ready to be put in the game, and that it shouldn't have been put in the game, then he could have said no. But that paycheck's looking real nice.
if a $6 billion gaming company approaches you about a map you abandoned a couple years ago, they would have some sort of plan or something prepared to help you finish it in only 4 days, and that they would tell you whether or not they can help you before you have to lock in those 4 days for sure? Like, wouldn't that be a fair assumption? Because
No, of course. And yeah, again, Valve is also responsible. Like, people, like, this, I don't understand what this guy is trying to say. Like, Valve is, of course, responsible, but it's equal parts Valve and the workshop. It's not one or the other and never has been. Listen, I love Hadel. Hadel is cool. It's a little wishy-washy, but I like Hadel. I don't know why people are bringing up Hadel so much.
that's not what happened. Though in 2023, Valve graced us with the addition of community-made game modes into the casual rotation.
And they were broken. Miserably fucking broken. And they shouldn't have been added.
So now I guess we've got another problem on our hands. Around December of last year, a VScript prop hunt game mode was posted on
Oh god, here we go.
the workshop with a couple of maps. The game mode works...
A couple? So, are we going to dismiss the fact that it was not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, I'm pretty sure it was 7 prop hunt maps, all uploaded within 24 hours of each other, specifically, sorry, Monkey, I apologize, 12 prop hunt maps, all uploaded within a very short time span, with the specific intention to spam them on the workshop, so Eric Smith could see them and then accept them into the game. We're just going to ignore that. It's not a couple. It was 12.
Same way as any old version of Prop Hunt, except that each class has a special ability when playing as the props, and the hunters can work together as a team as you would in regular TF2 to find them.
Did this guy really just try to compare prop hunt play to Team Fortress 2? Did he really just try to make the argument that prop hunt is in any way comparable to regular Team Fortress 2? My stance on these highly derivative game modes that no longer reflect TF2's gameplay, they should not be in the game. This is not Team Fortress 2. It goes so far beyond what vanilla TF2 is, it has no business being in the game. Did this guy not play this game mode? Did he not understand how broken and miserably shitty it was? These types of things have always had their place on community servers. Granted, Valve killed those. So I guess the only argument you could make is the only way these things could see life again is if Valve officially adds them to the casual rotation. It's the only argument I could see. Still doesn't justify them being added, mind you. But these are not Team Fortress 2. It's like saying, fuck it, let's put go-karts in the game. We already have that. But let's make an entire game mode around go-karts. Let's fucking do, I don't know. Let's play laser tag, hide and seek. Let's do fucking Dota. Put Dota in TF2. We can have that now, right? This is fine. It's all the same mercenaries. It's still teams, so long as there are teams and there are mercenaries. Therefore, it is still Team Fortress 2, right? Where does it stop? Where's the line drawn? The line must be drawn at vanilla Team Fortress 2 play. If you want to play these other derivative experience for this game, I was told, don't know if this is true, why Prop Hunt was ignored. Am I okay? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello? Are we good? Wait for chat to catch up. Press 1 in chat if I'm okay. Press 0 if I'm not. Okay, we're good. I lost my train of thought. I apologize. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Give me a moment. What was I saying? Shit. Fuck. I lost my train of thought. Fuck. Ah, yes. The reason why Prop Hunt got ignored was because Valve noticed the outcry against it. So, dare I say you're welcome for preventing what was effectively a really broken and rushed game mode squirted out onto the workshop just so they can get these things in game for a paycheck last month. Developed in less than a month, mind you. Made in less than a month, mind you. And they thought that that was fine? Yeah.
This means that the medic can heal anyone taking damage from hitting the wrong props, and the engineer can place down sentries, for example. Having played the game mode myself personally,
Oh, they did play it.
I think it is pretty fun, though it could use a lot of reworking and different...
So, just because something is fun does not mean that it's appropriate for Team Fortress 2. Baseball is fun. Distance running is fun. Therefore, these things are fun. Fuck it. Put them in TF2. Right?
different ideas to make it fit into TF2, so I agree that it should not be
Fucking
put into
son
the
of a
game
bitch.
in its current state. Zesty Jesus, however, goes even further by...
Are we good? Am I back? Here, I have to piss. Give me like 20 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're good. We're back and we're good. You know what they say? You know what they say about beer? You borrow beer. You borrow beer. Also missed a few other donations, I apologize. Versus Saxon Hill is horrifically unbalanced towards the hail. Yeah, I agree. If you look closely, he doesn't even play the game. I think so far that's been proven wrong. They've played Prop Hunt at least. Shall we continue? In general, VScript game modes are too complex to fit in a seasonal basis. I mean, if Valve had a full-time development team, they could, like, make them work, I guess, but that still doesn't mean that they're appropriate for the game. But this person is still upset. This person's still upset that I don't like Prop Hunt. Let's continue.
By pointing out a potential conspiracy lying within the game mode.
They didn't care. They rushed out 6 new maps, launching them all within 24 hours of each other, all by mostly the same people. This was done with the obvious intention to flood the workshop with new maps, some of them Christmas and winter themed, so Eric Smith takes notice and throws them in as the new game mode for Smithmas. 4 of the new maps are either reskins or just reworks of existing maps, and only 2 are original. Come on, this is fucked up.
Once again, it would seem
I really fail to see how I'm wrong on that point, when that was also topics of conversation within these workshop groups. But it's just, we're just gonna dismiss this as a conspiracy theory. We're just gonna dismiss this as not true. Interesting. It is an established strategy now to spam your content onto the workshop around the time that Eric Smith picks your content, because that does increase your chances of him seeing your content and then adding it into the game. We don't know no one knows the strategy. No one knows how it works. We have no fucking clue. But if it's on the workshop within a reasonable amount of time when Eric picks the shit, then it's a higher chance of him seeing the shit. And then if you have a whole bunch of stuff thrown onto the workshop, 6 maps worth all at once, then that's going to flood out everything else, and that's what you're going to see. So, to me, and from what I've seen other people say in these workshop groups, to me it's a clear sign that they were trying to spam this shit so it would get added. So.
That money and attention-hungry workshop mappers are out to get us. Through the sales of...
Okay, so now you've made a straw man. Now you try to, like, make me seem as though I'm demonizing them and turning them into these horrific monsters, when the clear intention was to have their content added into the game. Why would they put not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6? And they're not out to get us. They're out to get our money, but they're not out to get us.
Map stamps. They wish to collect an ungodly amount of money with which they will make a...
So, another hilarious misconception. Map makers don't just get money from map stamps, they also get a cut from key sales. I don't know why people think that's how it works. It's not. Mappers also get a cut of key sales. So for those of you that don't understand how this works, the way workshop profits work, just to clear things up, because I've seen so much hilarious misinformation about this. What happens? So, when an item or a map gets added into Team Fortress 2, they get a portion of the profits from key sales. How does this work? You have a key. Valve takes their cut, and then they give the rest to all of the workshoppers. What Valve normally tries to do is they try to divvy up the amount of money workshoppers earn to where it's about 1 to 2% of the total key sales per each individual contribution. This includes hats, cosmetics of all kinds, taunts, maps, unusual effects, and skins, whatever they add. Generally, about 1 to 2% of each key sale goes to these workshoppers. And if your item is inside of the Manco store that you purchase directly from the game, then they get 25% of each sale directly from the Manco store. That is how money works. Sorry, that was stupid. That is how profits work when you get an item into Team Fortress 2. So mappers also get contributions from map stamps. So, mappers stand to earn the most money. This is consistently true. Mappers stand to earn the most money from each update because they not only get a cut of key sales, but they also get map stamps. So if you get a map into TF2, you make the big bucks. Well, not really big bucks, but you make more than someone would make if they got a cosmetic into the game. That's how this works. Every single key purchased from the Manco store for those updates crates, they get a cut. That's how it works.
Another game that will rival TF2.
Eric did not say that. Listen, of course I can't show you the exact percentages, because that would be violation of a non-disclosure agreement. But I have been shown direct percentages from multiple workshoppers. And what Valve usually does, so it's amorphous. So let me draw this out for you, because it changes from update to update. So you have a key sale, right? So let's say you have your key right here, all right? Here's your key. Valve usually takes some percent, and then the workshoppers usually take some percent, all right? What this cut is changes depending on how many individual items are added into the game. Valve shifts their cut to ensure that about 1 to 2% of each key sale goes to each individual contribution. So if there are a lot more items, Valve takes less money. If there are fewer items, Valve takes more money. Okay? That's how it works.
Would kill us all, and we'll all explode. And
whoa, what the fuck?
And only 2 are...
Through the sales of map stamps, they wish to collect an ungodly amount of money with which they will make another game that will rival TF2 and kill us all.
Strawman.
And we'll all explode. And
Strawman. No one... I have to dislike your video now. Now you're just being uncharitable. Now you're just making bad faith arguments. No one is saying this. No one is saying this at all. Like, now you're just being bad faith. Now you're just making bad faith arguments. Like, this is hilarious to me.
Ooh, scary. Be scared. You're scared. They're out to get you. They're in your game. Obviously, I think this is ridiculous for the same reasons as before. While criticizing the game mode is a good thing, this goes a couple steps beyond by assuming the absolute worst in these people. In June of 2020...
Thing is, you've now built... So, it's the textbook straw man. You've built up this straw man and are now assuming people think that these people behave this way. That is not what anyone is saying. Holy shit. No one is assuming that these people are intentionally trying to kill the game. Where are you getting this from? Oh my god. Horrifically bad faith. Hilarious straw manning. My god.
Zesty released a video responding to Unusual Sandwich's own video in which...
Oh god, here we go. Oh, this is gonna be good. This is just a video that was made specifically to shit on all the points that I make. I think it's the only reason why this person made this video. It's not even about gaming conservatism anymore. This is just this person being angry with my opinions. We've got the title is wrong. This is just me being angry at Zesty. I did not expect this from this fucking video. I was expecting something else completely different. It's all about me. Holy shit.
He talks about how player-made decals can sometimes be a problem in TF2, and generally calls for the addition of a toggle option that would turn them on and off.
So that's not what that video did. Do I need to remind everyone of what that video did? So what that video did is it spent roughly 10 minutes of demonizing decals and custom player content, making the hilarious, gross exaggerations that there is this widespread proliferation of not safe for life content, cheese pizza, and other law-breaking evil things that it's just running rampant and wild through the game. That is the heavy implications that he was making. And then, at the very, very end, he says, yeah, toggle's a good idea. That is, so to him, so like the main point of his video was not to call for a toggle. Not to say, oh, sometimes decals can be annoying. He explicitly called decals, like, originally, like, Valve's biggest mistake, or, like, the biggest problem. And then he changed the title to be less abrasive. I forgot what the original title was. Now it's, like, Valve's biggest mistake, or what have you. Or, like, Valve's greatest, or, like, or TF2's biggest problem, or what have you. And then he had to, like, tone it down, like, oh, okay, oh, you know. Once people started calling him out on it. And to this day, that video still stands as one of the most heavily disliked videos in the TF2 sphere. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because you're making bad faith arguments, lying, and shitting on one of the most beloved features that TF2's had for a vast majority of its lifespan. That video did indeed end his fucking YouTube career. It is just sad. At this point, can we already say that there is a community psyop against SD? I don't think that's true. I think there's just a very small vocal minority of people that are very upset with what I have to say, when in general, most people are level-headed and can see shit like this and go, well, that's fucked. You know?
I personally think the video does indeed take the problem a bit out of proportion, but it's overall
A bit? I encourage everyone to go rewatch that video and come back and say, oh, was it just a bit out of proportion?
still a very...
See, videos like these make the assumption that you've not gone out of your way to consume this content, and generally they'd be right. They're trying to aim at people that have not seen these videos and are not informed, but if you go out of your way and watch this content, it's a very, very different picture.
very valid worry to have, and would be a great quality of life feature to have in the game. Zesty, however, fears for the worst, believing that the popularity of such a video could lead to Valve unleashing all of their power to either monitor every single decal, leading to a 1980...
I never said that. I never once said this. So that's just a flat-out lie. What I said is that Valve would implement the nuclear option, just as they've done in the past when they've been under the gun of bad publicity. What do? They implement the nuclear option by simply disabling the feature altogether, just like they did with free-to-plays and voice chat. Instead of directly addressing the problem, that was the bots, they punish the players instead. Instead of dealing with the bad actors and letting everyone engage with these systems as they normally have, no, they punish everyone else instead. So this person's now just simply lying about what I said in that video. Those words never left my mouth, nor did I ever imply these things. That is hilarious.
type society where all of your decals are censored forever by Big Valve, or that
Bad
all
faith.
decals be deleted forever.
It's belligerent fallacy, spun to bring yourself up and put anyone else who disagrees with you down.
So he's going to clip the last 20 seconds of the video without all of the preceding context of what that guy's video said, and then all of my counter arguments to it. He's only going to cherry pick and take things I said out of context to support the lie and his straw manning. Holy shit, dude. Try harder. You assume people are that fucking stupid and that no one's gonna notice this. What's wrong with you? Holy fuck.
While ignoring the aforementioned problems increased moderation brings, especially from Valve, and ignoring the risk of this video leading...
This is like textbook cherry picking. Textbook cherry picking to support a point that does not exist, nor a point that I ever made. That's insane. Try harder.
Obliteration of decals thanks to Valve often flipping the fucking kill switch.
He also states that apparently Valve takes direct action when it comes to illegal decals, which I have honestly never heard of before, but I could be wrong.
Think of it this way. Isn't it a bit stupid to go around a public space showing you have illegal material like this? Talk about a quick way to get locked up. Valve has your bank information, your location.
So Valve does go out of their way to deal with people that so there is a very, very tiny, teeny, tiny, small, infinitesimally small amount of decals that have ever hosted illegal material. And when that material is reported, Valve deletes it and also gets rid of the person who's using it. So Valve does go out of their way to punish these people. And I still stand by this. It is stupid to be roaming around with illegal material on your decals. Like, are you that daft? Are you that stupid? You're showing in a public space this illegal material. You think nothing's gonna happen to you? You're just gonna get away with it? Like, what the fuck?
And would undoubtedly hand that over to the authorities immediately upon being reported. This further shows just how grossly exaggerated these arguments are.
Yes, and they are insanely grossly exaggerated because it basically never happens. Outside of the most... Hello? Can you hear me? Am I back? I'm back. Okay, fucking... I really need a new microphone. This is getting ridiculous. So, outside of the most depraved, decrepit of, like, Steam groups and community servers and what have you, likely not vax secured, full of fucking cheaters and what have you, then yes, very, 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 to 10 to the upteenth power of very rarely, you will come across this illegal material. And generally, when you report it, Valve nukes it.
Despite Valve apparently being so powerful and willing to listen to someone like Unusual Sandwich, Zesty's argument seems to be completely against any and all changes being proposed publicly like this.
Again, a flat-out lie. This person did not watch my video, because I say in my video, a toggle is a good thing. Just like every other form of user-generated content, there should be a toggle. So he's now strawmanning and now lying that I did not want a toggle. At least that's his implication. Simply not true.
Instead, he is more advocating for nothing to be changed, since players have been dealing with these issues just fine so far.
Here's the thing. They've been non-issues. Outside of illegal material, it's been non-issues. Simple as that. I never said that a toggle should not be implemented. I said that a toggle should be implemented, just like every other form of user-generated content. Text chat, voice chat, sprays. You should be allowed to turn these things off. But do not ruin the fun for everyone else. Yeah, this video is no longer about the topic of gaming conservatism. It's now about just now he's just lying about what I said.
An uproar about decals effectively boils down to one's own personal sensitivities being infringed upon.
Yes.
Not safe for work and or offensive content. To which all I can say is, sorry, you're shit out of luck. TF2's always...
And it's hilarious because he's now cherry-picked this statement and juxtaposed it against the problems of illegal content, making it seem as if though I'm justifying the illegal content. How much more bad faith can you get in a video? I have to report this. I'm gonna fucking report this video after I'm done tonight. This is fucking ridiculous. What is wrong with you, guy? Seriously. Like, I understand people have hate boners for me. People have done far worse. I've been doxxed. I've been sent all amount of horrible shit. Like, this is just silly and petty. Silly and petty and flat out lying. Either you didn't watch my videos, or you are deliberately lying and trying to paint me in a negative light through these lies. Absolutely insane. It is indeed simply malicious. Absolutely insane.
It's been this way. Why are we suddenly complaining about it now? Given the nature of open and free expression, yeah, you're gonna come across something personally offensive or not safe for work, but as before, these don't make up a majority of player interactions, and it's deceitful to say they're causing widespread rampant problems when they never have before. And who cares if you see something offensive or not safe for work?
Is he gonna make a point, or is he just gonna run my video?
In TF2, the game is a
We're reacting to my video now.
mature, largely...
Oh, is he deleting comments? Really? What? No way. All right, we're gonna see. We're gonna see if he's gonna delete a comment live. We're gonna catch this live, and it's gonna be forever on the record that he's now deleting comments on this video. Let's get. I'll refresh the page, and we'll take a look. Oh, he's reacting to this live now.
Unmoderated space with features that allow for players to post and say whatever the fuck they want, so long as it's legal. Features that have been present for most of the game's lifespan, with little to no issues.
Well, clearly not, because people are complaining about this right now, but, you know, it's the whole...
No. No one's complaining about this. One guy did. And blew non-existent, or basically non-existent problems so far out of proportion that he got laughed out of the public TF2 sphere.
Whole reason why this thing started, but whatever. If anything, I think this video showcases a deep-rooted fear in this corner of the TF2 community. In regards to TF2, Valve is an uncaring god.
Yes, Valve does not care about this game anymore. They have not cared since 2018.
Keep pushing for better, guys, but Valve clearly does not care for this game as much as they once did.
When did this person start playing Team Fortress 2? I have to know. When did this person start playing TF2? Because if they genuinely think that Valve cares about this game anymore, they're a fool.
And they never will again.
There is this fear that has been stewing in TF2 for a long time regarding Valve's choices and abilities. Back in 2020, during the bot crisis, Valve made the decision to restrict free-to-play players' access to communication in-game. This means that if you didn't pay for a TF2 item yet, you wouldn't be able to type messages or use voice chat anymore. As the change sorta came out of nowhere, most of us assumed that this would be a temporary solution while Valve worked on a better way to restrict or completely remove cheater bots from the game. But this follow-up would never come. At least not until the middle of 2024 following the Fix TF2 movement. Nearly 4 years of radio silence on the issue other than a tweet, for the bot crisis to receive some kind of patch. And FTPs are still completely muted.
Yes.
Meet Your Match is one of the most hated updates TF2 has ever received.
Okay, so now this guy's making some sense. He's making sense now for the first time in this video. He's making some sense. How is he going to destroy it?
2016, it was first believed Valve's intention would be to give competitive players officially tailored 6v6 competitive matchmaking with a couple of balance changes on the side. What really happened on the release, however, is that we got a slow, broken, and yet to be fixed competitive sixes matchmaking full of restrictions that don't even make it worth playing.
There are no restrictions in 6v6. The only restrictions that exist in Valve's official competitive mode are the graphical restrictions, which make it basically unplayable for most people. Otherwise, there are no restrictions. Does he not play? I'm convinced this person does not play TF2. They're like, they don't. There's no way.
And an entire casual matchmaking system and questionable weapon changes that nobody asked for. To this day, there is a consensus that this update was the result of Valve taking advice from competitive players and even YouTubers.
Yes. Oh, now he's referencing this ancient video. So, for those unaware, Valve did indeed consult and speak with competitive players and YouTubers on multiple occasions. Does it mean that it's their fault? No, it's entirely Valve's fault. Valve ultimately made these decisions. Valve made these awful adjustments to their game, but they listened to the wrong people. That is the argument that is the stance I have held always. They listened to the wrong people. Yeah, this video is entirely about me at this point.
Players are indeed the loudest vocal minority of the TF2 player base. They have driven a lot of change over the past few major updates, and they hold a lot of influence. But when Valve listened to their input on balance changes, what did we get? We got items that were nerfed into the floor that were perfectly fine and wacky and casual, but not competitively viable because it didn't fit into a predictable, repetitive, and boring meta.
Yes. Provide a serious argument against that. I dare you.
Received a barely functioning matchmaking system that killed community servers. They got their 6v6 mode too. And when these competitive players got the changes they wanted, like in the Meet Your Match or Jungle and
So, I did fuck up there. They did not want this. They didn't want that 6v6 mode. They wanted their own idealized version of competitive TF2 inside of the vanilla game. but ultimately, what Valve made did not appeal to anybody. Trust me, I'm fixing that in my... So all the flaws in this video, I'm fixing in my next one. This is not my best. There's a very rushed out rant. That's now, what, 4 or 5 years old?
Inferno updates, what did they do? They just fucking ignored them and went back to what they've been doing for the past decade.
Yep.
They went back to their own servers with their own rules and their own whitelists.
Yes.
And the majority of players that enjoy the game casually were left to pick up the fucking pieces.
Yes.
When this couldn't be any further from the truth.
Ah, here we go. He pulls up. Is that Solar Light? Oh, it's so adorable. He pulls up the wall of text from Solar. He has to. Oh, it's so good. Oh, he's obsessed with me. I swear that man is obsessed with me. Oh, it's so cute.
Meet Your Match was entirely Valve's own doing, and a clear attempt to match the system.
Yes, it was. Yes, I will agree. That is entirely Valve's fault. But they listened to the wrong people.
Of its
They paid attention to the wrong people. They catered to the wrong people.
competitors at the time. Though instead of continuing to fix the game, they seemingly gave up when player numbers didn't match their expectations. I won't go more in depth into this casual versus competitive arc of TF2's history. It's really just more of the same thing. There are
Oh, but there's so much more. So much more. You guys won't have to wait long. You will not have to wait long to fully understand why Valve abandoned the game. You will not have to wait very long for me to finish this video and outline to everyone why Valve cast this game aside like a fucking leper because they could not turn it into their next big cash cow. You will not have to wait long. Fuck, it makes me so mad. Ugh.
There are many more examples of this behavior in Valve's handling of Team Fortress 2, and the ways in which the community members have managed to misconstrue the real source of the problem over the years. If Valve only applies direct...
So even in that video, did I say that competitive players were at fault for Meet Your Match? Did those words come out of my mouth? Did I say that competitive players were at fault for Meet Your Match? Don't think so.
potentially game-ruining solutions when taking advice from the community.
So I already know what's going to happen. This person is going to come out and say, I was just trolling. Wait. Just watch. This person's going to come out and say, no, don't worry. I was just baiting. I was just trolling. You're going to see this. You're going to see this happen very soon.
Then it's better to keep our heads down and bear with all that's broken, and to shut down anyone going too far and risking seriously getting Valve's attention.
Let's do a refresh. Let's see. Is that comment gone?
It's really
Or
just
now that I'm paying attention, they've stopped deleting comments. Oh, nope. Seems like they've stopped deleting comments now. We'll look at the comments later.
the same thing. There are many
We're almost
more
done.
examples of this behavior in Valve's handling of Team Fortress 2, and the ways in which the community members have managed to misconstrue the real source of the problem over the years. If Valve only applies direct, potentially game-ruining solutions when taking advice from the community, then it's better to keep our heads down and bear with all that's broken, and to shut down anyone going too far and risking seriously getting Valve's attention. You've just got to gatekeep what you love.
This would require
Yes. Yes. Gatekeeping is a right. If you want to protect what you care about, you need to protect it from people like this who do not care about the thing you care about. These people do not care about Team Fortress 2. They do not understand it. They view this as a piece of content to be consumed and then cast aside for the next piece of content. I have been convinced by this video that this person does not care about Team Fortress 2. Protect and preserve what you love, lest it be warped, twisted, and beaten and abandoned into something it is not.
some alternate universe in which Valve actually moderates their games, but they don't beyond dropping the nuke.
Yes. What is this person's reputation? I guarantee that it's just going to be let people have fun. Let's watch.
If you agreed with that last sentence, congratulations, you've fallen for the fear-mongering that TF2 conservatives have been pushing.
Bad faith. Bad faith argument already. Just let it happen. It's just fear-mongering. Don't worry about it. Just don't ask questions. Just consume product. And then get excited for next product. It's just fear-mongering.
For over the last couple years. The way it works is actually pretty simple when you see it. Creators like Zesty seem to unconsciously formulate their videos in this 3-step plan. First, you state
Oh, we're gonna get a psychoanalysis. We're gonna have the armchair psychologist here. Here we go. How are we gonna get this? How are they gonna psychoanalyze how I make my content? Let's do this. Let's figure it out. Here we go. The TF2 conservative.
something generally agreeable, even if it doesn't fully represent the opposition's argument. Prop hunt doesn't fit TF2, let's not remove decals, these cosmetics are practically broken. Second of all, you blow it out of proportion. Prop hunt is a cash grab, removing decals.
So, already bad faith. So, prop hunt was a cash grab. This is irrefutable. If you're just paying attention to how workshop uploads behave, and what these same creators say when it comes to getting their content added into the game, then prop hunt was a cash grab. This 1984 argument, this is entirely bad faith and based off of lies, which we already saw earlier in the video.
Is a slippery slope to censorship. All players will trick you and the game will die.
Never said that. Bad faith.
And third of all, you shift the blame or create an enemy. Money-hungry map makers, new generation players.
And he is simply going to completely ignore that in my Decal video, who do I primarily blame? Who am I primarily worried about? I'm worried about Valve. I'm not like, hello, are you just going to ignore that I'm placing at least half of my concerns on Valve, if not more? No, we're just going to ignore that entirely.
Lazy.
And here we go. Now, and then also bad faith, straw man, elderly voice, gets like, dude, come on. No one can take this seriously.
Workshoppers. And all this often leads to an implicit call to action to take matters into your own hands.
Gatekeep your communities, people. Gatekeep them and preserve them for what they are before people like this worm their way in and make it rot from the inside out. The degradation of TF2's visuals is the direct result of Valve's gradually increasing neglect.
Are you just going to ignore that? So, like, it's like, yes, we hold Valve accountable. Yes, but it's also Valve and the workshoppers. Like, this is the first time that he's acknowledged that I'm also placing some blame on Valve. It's 50-50. Like, you just gonna, hello?
Which leaves the front door wide open. Item creators' lack of care doesn't help either, because they're never held to higher standards. By anybody. No knocks, no locks. And I've said all this before.
Yes.
Somebody's gotta put their foot down. That's why I keep stepping in and stating the obvious. Things that people don't want to fucking say for fear of not being heckin' wholesome 420 chungus all the time.
Because then you get people like this who try to shut you down and say, oh no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You're just blowing it out of proportion. Don't care about what you're consuming. Just consume product and move on to the next product.
This, I believe, also caused a rapid growth in reactionaries, with many creators...
Oh, now they're just reactionaries. Now all legitimate concerns and criticisms, now it's all reactionary. None of it's real. There's no valid concerns or criticisms to be had with any way TF2's been being treated. It's all reactionary.
Strongly opposing the simplest of concepts. Oh, you wish you had a quality of life feature added into the game? Too bad, we've been dealing with slurs and not safe for work images on our screen just fine.
He's back to lying again. Again, either he didn't watch my video, or he's intentionally lying. By omission, mind you, because you can lie by omission, that I said multiple times in that video, a toggle is a good idea. Give them that toggle. Just like every other form of user-generated content. Allow people to be able to turn it off. No one said that a toggle is a bad idea. When that video first came out, my comment on that video and my comments on the workshop pages said, yes, a toggle is a good idea. I was supporting it from the moment that video came out. What I was refuting was the wildly, wildly blown out of proportion nonsense that video was trying to convey. Absolutely insane that this person is lying like this. Crazy.
For the last 17 years, plus you've got less playtime than I do.
The gall you must have.
I have fucking 10,000 hours in this game. You only see my main account, first of all, so whatever you have, and who fucking cares? Oh, I have 11,000 hours, I have 10,000. I've been playing this fucking game since 2010 on a regular basis. I've been involved in TF2 since fucking launch. Apparently, that's just, we can just disregard that. Why is that relevant, exactly?
To walk into TF2 when you started playing in 2017 and demand that things should change to protect your own personal sensitivities, labeling decals as the game.
So this video is also very much like my video, I should say. So my video is very much old internet versus new internet, shifting tides and how people handle things that offend them. And now in modern internet, as most of the traffic has been consolidated to like 5 major websites, there's been like an increasing push of like, oh, if something offends me, it's now the person's fault who posted it and not my own sensitivity, and I shouldn't have to curate my own experience. I should now depend on the rest of the world to appease my sensitivities, etc., etc. But neither here nor there.
Game's biggest mistake, when you never experience TF2 in its heyday or any of its other shortcomings aside from bots, is fucking laughable.
Want to peacefully protest and encourage people to
So what's funny is like he takes that statement and makes it seem as if though I'm directly addressing him, when I'm directly addressing Unusual Sandwich, who started playing TF2 in 2017.
boycott the game for Valve to properly take care of it again? Should have invited my friends and I to your private Discord server, now it's ruined.
And oh yeah, there are more YouTubers, and let's not invite these two or three who pointed out the flaws with the first movement in the first place.
Want to playtest some silly weapon changes on your own server for fun?
So, just to state again, I was intentionally omitted from the fixed TF2 stuff because of my controversies. They explicitly omitted me because they didn't want me as a controversial figure involved. Not that I care. I don't care. Again, like I said before, any kind of movement should not have been led by YouTubers. Doesn't matter. But still. Yeah, and that video from Monkey was very bad. Like, I really wish he had not done that.
You're like communism.
This guy is literally.
We're like,
There are
what?
more YouTubers, and let's not invite these two or three who pointed out the flaws with the first movement in the first place.
Want to playtest some silly weapon changes on your own server for fun? You're like communism.
This guy is literally just.
What? We were reacting to that video for fun. If you interpreted that as anything other than people having a fun time reacting to that guy's very frankly wild balance changes, we were just having a good time. Apparently that's communism now. Holy shit! How fucking disconnected from reality do you have to be? This isn't real. This isn't real. I'm in a simulation. This video is fake. This has to be a troll. There's no way this is real. There is no way this is fucking real. Holy shit. It's... Oh my god! There's no way! Oh! Yeah, misconstruing the videos to fit a narrative that does not exist. Oh my god.
Communism. He presents like a surface level but pretty accurate.
This was a
detail of
joke!
the problem, and then the worst possible solution to it. This guy is literally just communism. He presents.
It's
like,
a joke. You're not actually taking what Grey Blue said seriously. There's no way you actually take that as a serious statement. There's no way. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. There's no way he thinks he meant that in all sincerity. Holy shit. You have to be, listen, Azel, whoever the fuck you are, this is the greatest troll ever. This has to be bait. There's no, like, you had me go into the first half, all right? Or like the first 3 quarters. But this last part, you have to be trolling. There's no way this is real. There is no way this is, either you lack a sense of humor entirely, or this is an amazing troll and I have taken the biggest bite out of this bait ever. Insane.
Surface level but pretty accurate detail of the problem, and then the worst possible solution to it that just
And
makes
yes, that video was crazy. Some of the balance, most of the balance changes are fucking insanity, but that was like the fun of it. That was the fun kind of ribbing on this guy. We weren't like saying, no, don't do this. No, you shouldn't do these balance. It was fun. God.
worse.
I don't think that Great Blue knows what communism is, but he does make a fairly good
Guys, listen, TF2 is a very serious political game, all right? When you make a joke about communism, you have to take it very serious. He doesn't know what communism means, but allow me to step in and educate. Holy shit. Dude, no one cares. Oh my god, no one cares. I'm losing my fucking mind.
point, because if Grouch represents communism, then I guess he represents capitalism the way he essentially stole his
There's no way this guy is trying to turn this fucking shit into a capitalism versus communism argument. Oh my god. I need drugs. I need the strongest of drugs. I need alcohol. I need moonshine. I need Everclear. God, no, I need to get through this. oh my god. This is a troll. This is not real. This is not real.
a 2-hour-long reaction stream that is fully monetized and has 3 times the amount of views. That's a pretty hefty paycheck for sitting down for 2 hours. And
It was fun! It was fun! And look at me, I'm making some money reacting to this pile of shit. And I can guarantee my commentary on this is infinitely more entertaining than what you decided to squirt out over the last half an hour or so. Holy fuck! Oh my god! And it doesn't even matter! Like, all this stuff about this video is all in good fun! We're just having a good time! Holy shit! Just,
essentially not really doing anything other than mocking somebody. Well done. It's no secret that workshop
Boo-hoo! Grouch, that motherfucker, he took that shit on the chin like a champ. He was in the comment sections, he was having a good time, we were talking with him, he's a really chill guy. He, if I recall correctly, he even came on UFR. We were all chilling out with the guy. He was great. It was all in good fun. Are you daft? Like, this guy, again, this has to be a troll, or he didn't keep up with any of this at all.
shoppers have been
Grouch is one of us. He's a chill dude. It was fun. But no, this is about communism and capitalism, apparently. Holy fuck.
harassment for items that don't fit this narrative. And it's also no secret that the TF2 workshop has a history of toxicity happening between the creators themselves. But ultimately, going after these creatives does nothing to fix the issue, especially when you stand at a high place in the community and avoid responsibility for this as an inability.
As the content creator, you have the responsibility to... Oh god, here we go. No. I will state my criticisms. I will state my concerns. And if you don't like them, feel free to refute them as you did in this video. But next time, try a little bit harder. Actually give genuine refutations instead of relying on strawman fallacies and flat-out lies. Control your community.
Ability to control your audience. If there is a loophole and you see bad actors partaking in it, the solution isn't just to remove them, because the loophole will
Yeah, don't punish the bad actors. They're totally not responsible for this. Totally. If there is a bug or an exploit in the game, or if there's some means, yeah, don't punish the people that abuse this. No, they're not at fault. It's entirely Valve's fault. Oh, fuck.
still remain for new bad actors to partake in it in more discreet ways. What you need is a systemic change for the loophole itself to be dealt with, however scary this.
Fix the loophole, punish the bad actors. That's how it should be done. Not just fix the loophole and let the bad actors keep doing as what they will. My god. What logic is this?
Might seem. When you bring fear and hatred into the whole community, all that results.
Fear and hatred, guys. All I do is bring fear and hatred into this fucking community. My god. This guy really desperately wants to demonize me into this awful fucking thing, and all he's done is make himself look like a goddamn laughingstock. Nice work, buddy. Good job. Yeah, you fucked up. Like, you didn't think I was gonna see, like, I wasn't gonna see this?
In is a toxic environment that only discourages new blood from contributing to the game's ecosystem, which ironically...
No, only discouraging the bad actors, only shitting on the people that abuse these loopholes and act like pieces of shit, to not only the players but also to the game itself. That's all I've done. If you actually care about the game and you're actually doing these things correctly and not abusing these loopholes, then you're fine in my eyes. What? Gee, let's reference for a moment the now hundreds of hours of workshop review streams I've done giving feedback to new creators' items. Let's just disregard the fact that I have been messaged by easily probably over 100 individual creators at this point that have reached out to me and said thank you for calling out this bullshit and for helping them get going inside of the creation scene. Mostly for Warpaints, mind you, because Warpaints is what I focus on. Let's just ignore that. Let's just ignore that I have been helping people. No, it's all fear, it's all toxicity, it's all fear-mongering. No, it's all me just chasing this new blood away when I have been doing quite a bit. Not to toot my own horn, but when I've been doing quite a bit to bring up and bolster good content and shut down the bullshit. God forbid I call your hat bad.
He highly benefits these bad actors currently. So, where do we go from here?
Huh?
After the recent ban waves and the changes to the map distribution and the quality of this year's summer update, I am personally very hopeful that fixed TF2's impact will lead us to a much healthier...
It's so cute that anyone thinks fixed TF2 is the reason why Valve acted on the bots.
Team Fortress...
You're gonna have to wait for that in my video, but very cute to assume that fixed TF2 was the reason why Valve addressed the bots.
2 in the long run. Of course, this isn't enough to dissuade reactionaries just yet, but it's clear that their arguments weaken as the game receives the Valve-certified slightly above bare minimum amount of care again.
Ah, yay, there we go. There's our pop culture reference. Yeah, MF Doom is... I still stand by this hat not being... that it should not be in the game. Like, no fucking MF Doom hat. I know people were very upset, but just no MF Doom. Sorry. Now in TF2. Listen, in my opinion, we don't need modern pop culture references put inside of Team Fortress 2. TF2 is a heavily stylized game that takes place during a specific time period in America or in the world, I suppose.
What the fuck are you talking about? There's a fucking Mario hat in the game.
That doesn't mean that it's okay! What? Oh, we have an exception, therefore everything's okay. What? What is wrong with you? What argument is that? Oh, we have a Star Wars reference and a Mario hat, therefore anything is okay. Huh? What? No! These things are exceptions. They should not become the norm. What are you talking about?
Team Fortress 2 didn't survive for 17 years because its art style was kept in pristine condition or because it didn't let in dumb mini-games from time to time.
Two dumb minigames in the form of manpower and pastime that consistently stayed dead after they were introduced. Because consistently, most people come for the vanilla TF2 experience. And traditionally, before Valve raped their own game with Meet Your Match, people could go experience any derivative form of TF2 they enjoyed on community servers. The reason why TF2 stays alive is not because of the fucking hats. It's not because of the mini games they add. It's because the game is good. If there was no content added to the game, there would be fewer players. You have to acknowledge this. This is true. There is a non-zero number of players that only consume this game simply because of the extraneous content they've added. But there would still be a very healthy and established player base today if Valve never put hats in this game. Would it be as popular? Probably not. It's a different reality we have no real way of knowing. But to imply that player-made content in the form of shitty hats and minigames kept this game alive is foolish. It's because the game is good. One of the best games ever made.
TF2 survived because Valve made a nearly perfect game and blessed its players with the creative tools to keep it alive forever. At least it feels like it sometimes. And sometimes that just means adapting to the times a little.
Ah, yes, adapt to the times. Just allow these things to evolve. Just let it happen. It's okay. This is the new era. This is the totally new and modern times, therefore it's okay. It's all fine because it's 2024. It's not 2008 anymore. Just don't have standards. Just let it happen.
TF2 conservatives like to claim that the game was better before all the updates, that it should return to the late 2000s when in reality, most of them...
Very few people say that. I can think of 2 people that make that argument. Most people just want better content. Most people just don't want garbage put into the game. Some people are tired of tacky Christmas trees. Some people are tired of tacky pumpkin hats. Some people are tired of broken, unfinished maps. Some people are tired of thematically inappropriate content being put into the game in the form of bread space and Whatville. People are just happen to be tired of Valve not performing the basic bare minimum level of quality control to put items into the game. People are just fucking tired of people tossing clip art, AI-generated content, other garbage onto the workshop. Like, my god, it's not that complex. We just want something that resembles standards. Fuck. And through 2021, there were none. And look what happened. Look what happened when people started pointing out this bullshit. Guess what? Content creation quality went up. The quality of content in TF2 went up, sort of. Maps are still largely hit and miss, but it's like, it's a tangible improvement. When you criticize bullshit, things get better, usually, if you do it the right way. So what are we just supposed to do? Say nothing? I don't get it. I just don't understand.
Only truly started playing after Jungle Inferno. And hey, there's nothing wrong with being a recent player, or to wish for a previous version of the game, but to use that to fearmonger each other into believing the game's slow evolution is a danger to its longevity, to attack one of its strongest pillars, being the creative community, is plain dumb. We do tend to forget that TF2 is a live service game. A couple years ago, there would be this silent contract made between you, the player, and the game's developers, stating that the product you've obtained is to stay the same way, or at the very least, receive updates that align with its core principal elements, and patch out bugs and other issues.
So, you acknowledge that there are core principal elements, and what I've been fighting against are things that violate those core principal elements. But you merely write that off as fear-mongering. You write that off as lying and being toxic and belligerent. Did you not think before you wrote this script? Clearly not.
But the Overwatch 2 fiasco showed
What does this have to do with anything?
everyone the dark reality that we simply don't really own our games anymore. Ultimately, the fear that your favorite live service game will completely change from one day to another is a valid one. Hell.
Yes, because that's what happened with Team Fortress 2. That's what happened at a very rapid pace after 2014. Oh my god!
Fortnite chapter might as well be a different game altogether. But TF2 is one that's not gonna change. Even if in 20 years...
TF2 has changed. To not be able to acknowledge that TF2 has not changed is foolish. We are playing it's a very different experience. 2024 TF2 compared to 2014. 10 years ago, TF2 was a very, very different game. To even imply that TF2 is still the same, that it's remained unchanging, and it's not been warped and twisted and bastardized into some horrific Frankenstein's monster of garbage content and a modernized, better version of the game. Oh my god. No, sorry. It's just nostalgia. It's just rose-tinted glasses. Merely remembering something that I was there to experience. I was there.
Valve turns completely evil and turns it into Ricochet 2, somebody will have made a source mod ready to restore the whole game. Let's allow the next gen...
If I'm afraid to debate someone who goes against my narrative, how about that abysmally pathetic debate I had with that workshopper where he just growled at me.
Generation of players to help influence TF2's future. We are going to be okay.
What an awful video. So ultimately, have no standards, do not complain, consume product, move on to the next product. What a miserable video, full of straw man arguments, flat out lies, taking things out of context, just really sad. You could have, like, this wasn't a video about gaming conservatism, this was, I don't like Zesty.
Gaming isn't fun anymore.
Yep, they are actively deleting comments. So, there you go. The one that was there before is gone. So, caught on camera. And we are indeed looking at newest. Let's see, newest. Yep, the ones that were there earlier are now gone. Yep, actively deleting comments. So that is caught in 4K, my friend. Wow, what a terrible video. What an awful video. You could have tried harder. Like, if you had sat down and tried to formulate something that was a genuine response, or like a genuine counter argument to anything I've said, then I would have taken this at least half seriously. But holy shit. Let's see what Richter said. Richter's saying, look at his post. Okay. Really no need to put it into a political dichotomy because it's not conservatism, it's preservation. Amen, brother. Preservation of game millions of people love and find precious, which is changing in tangible and alarming ways that permanently alter its identity. Thank you, sir. And if you track the development history, the changes in hands with TF2 are nearly as obvious as with Minecraft. You don't have to be a video game conservative to say things done to a video game have made it worse. Didn't explain it in detail in the video because I thought it'd be more obvious, but basically, I'm simply drawing a fun parallel between the conservative ideal that individuals have the duty to upkeep societal norms. What the fuck? And to how Valve's absence has left part of the community believe that it is their duty to upkeep the quality of the workshop editions and so themselves, which has been in some cases gone too far, no longer making it preservation as it simply hurts the game and the community further. Yeah, just don't refute anything added to the game. So don't criticize, don't say anything at all. It's all fine. I'm clearly in no way stating we shouldn't care for the game's style, gameplay, and history by suggesting blaming creators of Valve, who is still charging money to use the basic chatting features, isn't the best direction to keep things rolling. It's a broken system that people use and sometimes abuse. Yes, if we applied the same mentality to something more serious like the legal system, it wouldn't hold up. Imagine if someone exploited a loophole to the law to avoid paying taxes or skirt consumer regulations. Would you say it's not the best direction to criticize them because ultimately the government is a responsible party? Of course not. Both parties are complicit. Both parties are complicit, and it's fair to criticize both. Yep, and I'm gonna forget this video when I wake up tomorrow morning because this was just a good fun time. Just a really bad video. Just really bad. I'm happy this was sent to me. I'm very happy this was sent to me. This is made for a very entertaining stream. Very entertaining. Check other comments. So, I mean, so far it's like 2024 being so obvious, no one follows these tags anymore, making obvious strawmen, lying, and arguing bad faith. This obvious feels like that. Going to work anymore, vomiting buzzwords like conspiracy theorists and fear-mongering is going to work anymore. You know, general, just people laughing at the video, which is fine. Just admit it, you don't like Zesty. Like, again, this video just should have been like, I don't like Zesty, because, you know, about 3/4 of the video was just directly refuting my talking points. Just not a good video. Oh, look, here we go. So, funny enough, shocker, Indy and all these other guys, believe it or not, we're all on good terms, these guys, you know, with their podcast or what have you, but they've now become my most vocal of critics, spouting a lot of the similar stuff. I mean, you could just say you don't like my takes and move on. You don't have to lie, right? You don't have to lie about me. You don't have to make straw men.
Gaming isn't fun.
Just could have done better, man. Could have done better. That was entertaining. That was good. Do I still have the video with the growling? Yes, the VOD of me talking with that workshopper is still on my second channel. It's still there. You can go and check it out. What's the VOD name? I don't remember. Hold on, let me check. It's still there. Hold on. I will let you know. Let me pull it up. What is it called? This was quite a while ago now. Oof. Where is it? I think it was it this one? Absolutely. Yeah, it's called Let's Try This On for Size was the VOD. When I went live to shut down people calling me a pedophile because I posted a GIF in my Discord as a joke. Oh no, this lucky guy is a fucking schizo. He's also like yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of him. Yeah, that guy and I used to be on good terms, and then he just went down this really weird schizo rabbit hole. I don't know what happened to the guy. I feel bad for him, honestly. I really do hope he gets the help he needs. But it's a bit of a shame. What would I change if you had the power to remove or add or even alter something to TF2? What would I do? I would undo the entirety of the Meet Your Match update. I would undo the entirety of the Meet Your Match update and remove almost all cosmetics added after 2017. That's what I would do. Undo Meet Your Match entirely. That's like priority number one, is undoing Meet Your Match. Putting it back to how it used to be. Simple as that. Oh, Azel's in chat. Like, dude. Not cool, man. You cannot lie. You cannot try to paint me as this monster, but you fucked up, dude. I don't get it. I really don't get it. When the bait has rotted, indeed. Yeah, I can watch something else. Should watch Kaluka's video. There's no point in watching that video. I mean, I could. Let's see. Hold on. I'll pull it up. Why not? I mean, ultimately, the video was made in like direct refutation to a lot of my talking points as well. But
fix TF2. It's like the sinking of the Lusitania, except not at all. For those of you who are unaware of the recent happenings in Team Fortress 2, there was a big protest over Valve's ignorance of and seeming abandonment of the game for the last 6 or 7 years. Despite it
seemingly abandonment? What do you mean seemingly abandonment? Valve did abandon the game for like 8 years, dude.
Retaining a large player base and still receiving cosmetics that you could buy, which included a...
That doesn't mean that Valve didn't abandon the game. Just because Valve is, already off to a really rough start. Just because the game has players, and just because Valve is throwing microtransactions into the game, doesn't mean that Valve didn't abandon the game.
Petition as the central focus of the movement, and unlike every other petition on Earth, it seems to have actually worked, or at the very least was extremely conveniently timed right next to Valve.
Again, I'd like to reiterate that Fix TF2 did not have a direct impact on Valve's decision to get rid of the bots. Work to fix the bots started about 2 years prior to Fix TF2.
Doing exactly what was outlined.
Again, wait for my video.
Within the petition goals, and nothing else, which would be a very interesting and specific coincidence. Either way, Valve actually fulfilled the demands of the petitioners to the letter, stunning
The only demand, what were the demands of the petitioners? Wasn't it just a single demand of, hey, maybe get rid of the bots? And even then, it wasn't in direct response to the petition. Like, to assume that the petition came out when Fix TF2 started, and then to assume within about a month's time that Valve squirted out the fix in a month? What?
The entire community, which at that point consisted of 7 YouTubers, me, 150 Redditors who are on the verge of blowing their own hands off out of boredom, Bartholomew, our talking peanut mascot, and a PS1 era barrel asset. Now you might think that
What is with these weird, like, gags that yank you out of the discourse? What the fuck?
even the Team Fortress 2 community got quite literally
Like, I get zoomer editing, but Jesus.
exactly what they wanted and have been relentlessly talking about for 7 years straight, they might finally come together for a whole minute and 30 seconds to celebrate and be merry. Or they could trample over each other down the giant, bleeding, screaming...
In my opinion, I don't think anyone should be automatically happy and like automatically back in Valve's good graces because they performed the absolute bare minimum level of maintenance required to keep their game functional, when for almost a decade prior, they just weren't doing anything. And if anything, they were punishing the players in the form of, like, you know, muting free-to-plays. So Valve finally does something, and now we're just supposed to be happy? Like, we're just back in Valve's good graces? We're just supposed to go back to how things were and, like, totally just ignore the fact that Valve was just letting this game die? What?
tunnel that makes us all get illogically angry over stupid minutia and bicker over a fucking piece of paper that never advertised itself as anything but a piece of paper. Which one do you think we'll take? So I decided
what is
that
with these fucking strawmans? Jesus.
for today's video we would... Oh my god, I broke the video. Oh god. Okay, Bill, just put anything on the screen. Just put something on the screen to enter. There's this cool mobile game. Look, if you do not want to give Valve, or any...
How long is that ad? It's like a I skipped too far ahead. I did.
Alright, let me just hoist this up.
Get
Alright
your
guys,
fucking
I fixed the
shitty
video.
rage
Now,
shadow.
think
I can automatically disregard whatever you put in a video if you put Raid Shadow Legends in there.
this'll buff out.
Like, to me, you squirted this out so you could get that raid money. And I assume you went based off of views. Probably didn't pay that
now,
well.
with that said, I do think there are some concerns about this movement that are
What?
very valid. I think it's absolutely possible, if not already true, that this movement, and more importantly how the community at large is responding to it, is paying the wrong amount of attention to the wrong kinds of stuff. Like, guys, if you see somebody doing something horrible or stupid, something so outrageous that you absolutely have to tell somebody about it, maybe we should take a step back and analyze if this person is doing that thing just to try to get your goat, and we don't give them the attention that they clearly crave. I think
So now what he's doing is he's setting the precedent. He's setting the precedent that if you have a legitimate concern or criticism, they're only doing it for attention. So already he's setting up the straw man. Like, if you have any concerns or any kind of, again, any concerns with anything having to do with fixed TF2 or what have you, automatically you're doing it for attention.
I think it's also reasonable to be concerned about how Valve is going to respond to this whole thing. So far, I think Valve has done about 1,000 times more than anybody could have possibly predicted they would do, which...
Oh, a comic, and adding more maps into the game, as they always have. Cool. That's totally things that are new and amazing and different and innovative. Totally different than what Valve has been doing since 2017. This is also not something in the game. I'm not sure what this was put here for.
which was of course their job. Valve has a history of applying bad, hastily made quote-unquote solutions and half measures, assuming that they fix the problem and then moving on for another 5 years. And while what they're doing so far looks fantastic, Valve also has...
What are they doing other than the comic that looks fantastic so far? And it's just been a simple teaser? Yeah, Valve, it's not even Valve doing their job. They made the game playable again. And all the while, when the game wasn't playable, they kept taking the players' money? So it's like, are we just now supposed to suck their dick because they did the bare minimum? I'm not sure what this guy's angle is.
has an ironically consistent history of not committing to things. The old saying is true, don't count your chickens before they hatch, because if you do, the company that leased you your eggs will repossess your car. However, what's been more interesting to me has not been what people should have done in relation to the petition, or what people did. What's been more fascinating to me is the fact that the Team Fortress 2 discourse engine was not prepared in any way for this to actually work, and the power vacuum that's been left.
So he assumes that it worked? So he's already placing the assumption that fix TF2 worked when, again, the bot fix had nothing to do with fix TF2, or even save TF2, mind you. I need to be very clear on this, that the bot fix had nothing to do with either of the hashtags. Nothing. And I have direct proof of this. You will see it in my next video.
Behind in the space where talking about Team Fortress 2 and how Valve was ignoring it should have gone, which has opened up this like Pandora's box of some of the most obnoxious discourse I've seen from this community in quite a while. Because instead of talking about interesting topics like the Atlantean Civil War, or talking about the actually hard topics like grilling YouTubers on what they would do if they were hit in the head with a hammer chained to a rock and thrown
Can you stay on the point for more than 30 seconds? Jesus Christ, man.
into the ocean, but instead we're all too busy complaining about cosmetics. Again.
Yeah, I think it's fair to complain about bad content being added into the game. I don't see why you're dismissing it.
And since I've had writer's block for a while now and have been watching this community collectively succumb to a fit of rabies, so I decided to say fuck it and just talk about a bunch of
So you all have rabies if you have concerns with cosmetics or any kind of refutations to what's been going on. You just have rabies, guys.
stuff.
He's our savior. He's coming in to save us all and set us straight on what the discourse should be and what is bad discourse.
Lost control of the video and I am going to crash it into a poll. Look, if you do not want to give Valve, or any company, your money because you are not satisfied with the quality or status of a product or service, be it Team Fortress 2 or otherwise, that is completely reasonable. In fact, we should probably all be spending less money on video game items than we currently are, especially since that money would be much better off being sacrificed as tribute to the stone. But also, if you think you're better than someone else, or that you're some kind of a fucking genius because you're not purchasing online game cosmetics that somebody else is, I hate to be the bearer of bad... Wait, no I don't, I love calling people
Huh? So if I'm interpreting this right, he's making the argument that there's been people going around saying that they're better than other people for not spending money on the game? Yeah, this feels like a straw man. To be fair, I don't really keep my finger on the pulse of, like, TF2 Reddit and what have you, so if people were saying this, I didn't see it, but generally I see a lot of what's going on, so yeah. No, yes, I don't understand why people get upset about this, though. Yes, I spent a lot of money on the game, and I stopped spending money on the game because I've been fed up with how the game's been being treated. It's ridiculous.
stupid.
As I'm a reformed pay pig. Fuck me.
But you might be kind of a fucking idiot. I think we should do a
Oh, there we go. You're a fucking idiot now.
little math here. Shut up. I want you guys to go into the comments and tell me how much money you thought that the 2023 winter cosmetic case made for Valve. I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to take a guess, and to help you think, I'll leave you with this cool frog that is definitely not a surveillance device. You done? Alright, chat, let's see what you guys wrote here. 7. No. Actually, the number is a surprisingly low $804,013.53.
That is very low. That feels low. How did you get this?
Now, this data was gathered by taking all of the existing items from the crate and then multiplying them by 2.49.
That is... Okay, so I'm going to assume he used backpack.tf, which is hideously inaccurate when it comes to calculating the total volume of items per single crate. You also have to take into consideration the amount of items that are being used in trade-ups. You also have to take into consideration the volume of items that are on the community market that do not show up on backpack.tf and therefore do not contribute towards the total number of items in existence. You also have to take into account all the sheer volume of private inventories where you have a lot of people who farm and harvest these items and then sell them out at a trickle's pace onto the community market. You cannot rely on backpack.tf's data to get even a rough ballpark of the volume of items in existence.
I got the data for how many items there were from backpack.tf, and as such, there
Called
are
it.
some reasons I believe that the actual number is a little bit higher than this. Not
Good.
substantially higher, but a little bit. Because
It's substantially, my friend. Backpack.tf is hideously inaccurate when it comes
Items
to volumes of... So, backpack.tf is accurate when it comes to the volume of rarer items, like unusuals, you know, like one or two. Backpack.tf is good at tracking those. But when it comes to items where there are thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions in existence, then backpack.tf starts to fuck up. And you get more and more inaccurate the higher a volume you go.
unaccounted for. For example, some items were traded up, meaning that a small number of the lower value items are unaccounted for as they were used in those trade-ups. But there's not enough to suggest a substantial difference. Maybe the real
So you just assume this then?
number is like $825,000. And of course, we have to
just assume it.
account for the greedy cabal of workshoppers who are ruining our perfect...
Oh, there it is. There it is right there. So there's your discourse right there. It's all... Oh my god.
game by putting things on a website. And the only way that
nice reductive argument. See previous videos criticisms to even come to approach that.
we can stop these psychos is if we take 100,000 drums of oil and pour it into the Great Salt Lake. Workshoppers cumulatively receive 25% of all of the profits that a crate makes, according to a workshopper. And you know, Valve. Meaning that Valve...
So, that's not true. I described earlier why that's not true. So to reiterate again, but first of all, either he was lied to. Either he was lied to, because it's not 25% for everything. So either he was lied to by that workshopper, or he only referenced what he found on Google immediately. So again, to say how it works, if an item is sold through the Manco store, in-game, usually just taunts nowadays, yes, that workshop creator gets 25%. But everything else, maps, hats, unusual effects, skins, all of these other things, those come from key sale profits. And generally, what Valve does is they work it out so each individual contribution, each individual item, be it a map, hat, unusual effect, taunt, skin, what have you, they get about 1 to 2% of each key sale. That's generally how it works out. So whatever calculation he comes up with is going to be hideously inaccurate by only assuming 25%.
Valve only makes...
When in reality, Valve, and again, this varies from update to update. Workshoppers usually get, it changes. It can be as low as 30%, it can be as high as 60%. It depends on the volume of content put in the update. It changes from year to year. So his assumptions and his data are very inaccurate.
602,261. Hey guys, time traveling Kaluka here to give you a correction.
And that's still, yeah, that is still a lot of money. And my curiosity, is that only within the opening months? Is that cumulatively? I'm assuming he thinks that's cumulative, right? Because if he's just going based off of items that he sees on backpack.tf, I assume he means cumulative, which makes it even more inaccurate. Thing is, that $800,000 figure is probably more accurate within the first month or two of the case's existence. Not the entirety of its lifespan.
When I made this part of the video, I forgot to account for some 4,100-ish keys that are just sitting in people's inventories and weren't used to unbox any crates. Apparently, workshoppers are paid after a key is purchased, not after it's used, meaning that the actual numbers are these ones. It's only a $10,000 difference total, but still, I have to correct.
So, you also have to take into account that you have a shitload of keys that are simply purchased, and it's a constant flux of keys. That amount does not stay the same. If you go to backpack.tf right now and look at the number of keys from that specific crate in existence and refresh the page after 10 minutes, it's gonna vary wildly.
to the timeline here, because if I don't, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and Douglas MacArthur is going to be the eternal ruler of the American
you stay on
Democratic
point?
Socialist Republic.
Fuck me,
anyway,
man.
back to your video. $61 on a crate like this, and given that there's only 2 crate releases per year,
3, sometimes 4. So 3, sometimes 4.
that just isn't as much money as I think a lot of people expected it to be. Now, of course, even though crates are a major...
So what's amazing to me? Okay, so I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to assume that Valve's profits only come from a new case? Is he going to take that figure and then multiply it by 3 or 2 and then call it a day? Or is he going to take into consideration the sheer volume of transactions that come from the Manco store? Think about this for a minute. Regular TF2 keys, normal, plain Jane, vanilla TF2 keys, are one of the biggest currencies in the Counter-Strike market. There are shitloads of them moving constantly. Why? Because when Valve made CSGO keys untradeable, they swapped over to TF2 keys. Those keys are the perfect means by which scam skins can be laundered, and they often use TF2 keys to buy, sell, and trade their items. So that is another major factor you have to consider when you're trying to even roughly estimate the amount of revenue that TF2 earns. Let's see where this goes.
major earning period for Valve, there is always the Steam community market, which you would think is the major moneymaker for Valve, but actually their main moneymaker for Team Fortress 2 is the Cave Full of Nightmares. But again, I don't think that in relation to Team Fortress 2 items, that the Steam marketplace makes as much as people would like to believe. Now, figuring out exactly how much money is traded over the Steam marketplace over a given period of time is basically impossible. The only people who would have even close to an idea of how much that's worth
but you're gonna do it anyways.
Be the most dedicated of traders and Valve. But I decided to dip my toes in just a little bit so we can get an idea of what it is we're dealing with here. And I plotted out all of the key sales for the week of June 4th to June 11th of this year. I chose keys
Okay, so he's gonna rely on 1 week's worth of data.
specifically because they are by far and away the most traded item on the Steam marketplace.
That is true.
Nothing comes even close. You
That
might
is
think
true.
ban up tickets are a good contender for keys, not even remotely so. Valve is lucky
But
to be
do you include them? Are you going to include all of the other items that move through the community market? What about all of the other different types of keys? What about crate sales? All of it adds up. You can't just take normal keys and leave it at that for this estimation.
making like $15 an hour on man-up tickets. So as such, I figured keys were the best thing to look at.
That's
and
dismissive.
the total number of keys sold for every hour between June 4th and June 11th of this year is 147,017 Manco store crate keys, for which Valve takes a 15% commission because they are
Is he even going to acknowledge the sheer volume of keys that are purchased directly from the Manco store? I wonder if he's going to do that.
the developer of Team Fortress 2. That's how the Steam marketplace works. It's 5% for Valve for all games, and then 10% to the developer, which in this case is also Valve. Now, of course, at what price these keys were traded at is fluctuating. Keys are always fluctuating at least a little bit, but on average, these keys were sold for about $2, so we'll just say $2.05 to be polite, meaning that within
That's
that
a low
1
ball
week, Valve
because like price fluctuations go from 2 to like 250, if not more or less. It's you can't. Oh god, these are horrible. You need more data, dude. Come on.
$55,200
Like as a data scientist, this is a horrific estimation.
$7.72. And if Valve saw similar performance for each week of this year, which of course hasn't happened yet, but if they did, they would see about $2.3 million and some change from Team Fortress 2 key sales. Now,
On the community market. Think about that. That's $2.3 million just from key sales on the community market. Not Manco store, not all of the other stuff purchased through Manco store, not all of the other items that come from the community market annually, just from the 15% cut they take from TF2 key sales, they get 2.3 million. That is insane to think about, right? And this is a low ball. This isn't even accurate. It's definitely more than this. It is more than this. It's probably double this, if I had to take a guess. It could be double. But let's just assume that it is $2.3 million a year just from the fees of key sales on the community market.
that's a lot of money. That's so much money that I think quite a few game developers, especially indie developers, could be given that much money and make their dream game. That's so much money that a famous TikToker might be willing to let you take a picture with them without their human disguise if you gave it to them. But it's not that much money to Valve. Let's be polite.
Does anyone find that funny? I don't. It's not my kind of humor.
And say that Canadians are people, and say that the entire rest of the Steam marketplace for Team Fortress 2 cumulatively also makes $2.3 million a year, which I
So he just makes the assumption and doubles the value, which is inaccurate.
really don't think it does. But we'll just be nice to Team Fortress 2. That means that this game is making $5.8 million a year, which again...
There's no way. There's no way. He only assumed. There's no way he only assumed that it was just the 3 individual cases they add per year that add. He doesn't take into account all of the other cases people open, specifically during new updates to get new unusual effects. He doesn't take into account all of the old cases that people still open. Again, doesn't take into account any other microtransactions coming directly through the Manco store, of which there are shitloads. And he comes up with the figure of 5 million a year. You're kidding, right? Like, you're kidding. 5 million a year for TF2 when consistently, since Valve started keeping track of this, mind you, when consistently, for the best of the year sales, TF2 consistently places in silver tier with all of these other massive games, really only $5 million a year, when these games are ordered by gross revenue, when year for year TF2 has consistently stood toe-to-toe with all of these other big games. Like, are you kidding me? Only $5 million a year? You're an order of magnitude off. You are an order of magnitude off of your estimate, sir. It is a gross, gross underestimate of how much money this game makes. Oh my god.
Is a lot of money. Let's assume that Valve is making as much money this year as they did before COVID, because COVID was a huge boon for them, which again is giving Team Fortress 2 a massive advantage. So, assuming Valve makes $5.8 million a year on TF2, which I don't think they do, and they only, well, you know,
they make a lot more.
Make let's say $2 billion a year total. This means that Team Fortress 2 accounts for 11% of 1% of their yearly revenue. Look, I'm not saying...
Here we go with the fucking percentages argument. Oh, it doesn't matter because Valve just prints out more money. This guy doesn't understand how corporations work. Every single dollar is taken into account when it comes for budgeting. If there's suddenly a deficit of millions of dollars because of a boycott, it's not like they're not going to notice that. It's like, oh, now we can just suddenly rely on this other magical revenue. His assumption is that there's some other magical revenue stream that's suddenly going to manifest and replace that now deficit of however much. It doesn't even matter how much TF2 earns. TF2 can earn $500,000. It can earn $20 million a year. Now they just have to assume, oh, we have this new revenue stream is going to manifest out of nowhere and replace the dollars that are being removed from a boycott. That's the argument he's going to make. Is that, oh, it's not that much money, therefore Valve doesn't care. Like, oh my god. And not even that. It's not just depriving Valve of the dollars, it's about making Valve look bad, right? If one of their most beloved and popular games of all time, if there's a massive stink over it where people are like, no, fuck you, we're not giving you money for this game anymore, that's gonna make them look really bad. That's like the entire other half of this argument for a boycott. Is he even going to bring this up? With the amount of time he has left on the boycott section, I don't know.
It's not worth doing, okay? But the sentiment that this game is making like $100 million or whatever, or that boycotting Team Fortress 2 is some kind of strategy that Valve absolutely cannot ignore, and the only reason it wouldn't work is if other people didn't also boycott, is backwash drinking idiocy. Maybe...
Therefore, you're just stupid. Like, oh, so I pull out a nonsense number from my ass with a horrific calculation, grossly lowball the amount of money TF2 earns, and then simply dismiss it of, it's not that much money, you're fucking stupid for thinking otherwise. Dude.
Valve does care about the $5 or $6 million they get from TF2. After all, Valve is a well-organized company. They're not just going to ignore money, but this isn't an amount of money that Valve can't ignore. Acting like this is guaranteed to fix the game is foolish, and blaming the community for not doing it, even though you're the one asking other people to spend their money how you want, is not just foolish, it's also another step in the long line of things that this community seems to be willing to do before they just blame Valve. Valve are the
Was no one blaming Valve? What? What is this guy smoking? Everyone was blaming Valve on this, to the point where they were wanting to deprive them of their dollars. Huh? I'm blown away by this. Argument wasn't even that a boycott would be the end-all and be-all, just that it was worth doing and spreading the word of, if nothing else, just for the poor PR. Exactly. Oh my god. Just
the ultimate authorities on what is to become of Team Fortress 2. Acting like the status of Team Fortress 2, regardless of how you feel about it, is anyone else's fault is dumb. And treating other members of
yeah, I agree with that, but so let me ask my chat. People are gonna scream and cry echo chamber. Did anyone else see someone attacking another person for not boycotting? I don't know. I didn't see this. Doesn't mean it wasn't happening. If it was happening, I suspect it wasn't that widespread of a thing. I'm seeing a few yeses, but mostly no's. It probably did happen, but it certainly wasn't, like, in the mainstream discourse. I didn't see that. Again, doesn't mean it didn't happen, but yeah, vocal minority, probably, on that stance of the word. And if he's shutting down those people, then that's rightly deserved, but everything else that led up to, like, the one correct thing of, like, if you're not blaming Valve and you're blaming other people, then I agree. Like, it's not other players' fault. You know, like, I can't stop you if you want to keep spending money on the game. You know, it's your own individual decision, but I will still stand by, like, probably a good idea.
Community, the people who are on your side of everything, like they're stupid because they have a differing appreciation of things or a different view on what Team Fortress 2 should become, especially while you're not doing
okay, so what does that have anything to do with fixed TF2 and Valve's mistreatment of the game? You're losing me here, bud.
Promote what you believe to be is the right way. Again, if you're not satisfied with what Valve is doing and you don't want to give them your money, fantastic. I just think that it's possible that there's a better solution than dividing the community over a matter of opinion. Other people aren't idiots just because they're not as upset with Valve as you are. They're idiots because they didn't purchase a Honey Badger defense system during Honey Badger Osmosis season. But you should take all of this with a tiny grain of salt. I understand that this is effectively perfect math, but still, a lot of things could be unrepresentative of the final results here. These are just an idea of what we're working with. And as much as I would love to sit around here and count all of the key cells for an entire year of this game, but I would much rather do something.
If you're gonna make the argument and then stand on the argument and then call everyone else stupid for not believing it was an effective amount of money, to then walk it back and say, well, I wasn't really bothered to do with the math, it doesn't matter if my numbers were accurate. It's like, really? If you were gonna pose the argument in the first place and use that as the crux of calling other people stupid, then maybe you should have put in a little bit more research. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Incredibly, excessively violent and comical to myself. Oh my god, that's an ad. That's an ad falling out of the sky. Everybody get away. Everybody back up.
Is he doing
wow,
another
I
ad?
can't believe
The company you just saw.
would do that. I can't believe
The company you just saw.
would just let one of their advertisements just completely fall out of the sky
What?
right onto that apartment building / zoo, killing 35 people and 19 tigers.
I suspect he put an ad break in there for people that don't have an ad block. And for those who don't have an ad block, I'm very sorry.
Yep. This is a very difficult topic for us to talk about, isn't it? I mean, I can't believe it, guys. Valve is making a new game called Deadlock. And while other
Why is he bringing this up? Okay, so I think I already know where this is going. That people are upset that Valve is working on Deadlock for any reason other than TF2. And this holds water when Valve was ignoring the game and working on their new one while leaving TF2 in shambles. Players had every right to be upset at Valve for working on a new game while leaving their other offered games in shambles. Like, there is no refutation to that argument. Every player had the right to be upset. But let's see what he says.
Communities might be content to ask stupid questions like, is it enjoyable? Do I want to play it? And is it fun? Team Fortress 2 players are going to ask the hard-hitting questions, such as, what does this mean for Team Fortress 2?
Yes, I think it's a fair question to ask. If Valve is working on a brand new game that it seems like they're dumping a lot of time and resources into, and they're still offering TF2 as a playable game when it was facing one of the worst things that can happen to a video game, players have every right to consider and ask the question, what does this mean for Valve's other currently offered titles? Is he dismissing that concern? It seems like he is.
It means you need to shut the fuck up. You are embarrassing and deluding yourself if you think that Team Fortress 2 is in competition with Deadlock. Team Fortress 2 is not even on the same baseball team as my uncle,
No one's
let
making
alone
that.
the same.
Whoa, who is making this argument? Who is making this argument that TF2 is competing with Deadlock? What the fuck? Huh?
Astral plane as Deadlock. There are
He is greatly missing the point if that's what he thinks people are worried about.
few valid opinions to have about Deadlock right now. You can say either that
Oh, thank God they put that gargoyle in the game. Woo! Some good artwork of that character.
you like it, that you do not like it, or that you are maybe a little concerned that Valve has a history of abandoning projects and is now making a new thing to abandon. These are valid concerns to have. But if you're comparing these two games or you're concerned about the impact that Deadlock will have on TF2's future with Valve, I just don't think you should worry because I have a weird suspicion that maybe it's not Deadlock that's the reason that Valve doesn't care, but also after Deadlock is finished, they'll probably totally take all of the developers that were working on it and give some of them to Team Fortress 2, just like CS2, Half-Life Alyx, and the Steam Deck.
Oh God! Oh, he's so foolish. Oh yeah, they're just gonna totally, yeah, CS2 is fine, guys. CS2 is in the greatest state ever, being filled with cheaters and bugs and missing content. Yeah, they're just gonna reallocate these guys, totally. Ah, yeah, once the game is done, when is the game done? It's not gonna be done. It's a new live service title they're gonna have to consistently maintain. Hello? Not to mention they have mostly contractors working on this game and not Valve employees. Holy fuck, guy. Oh, no, don't worry about it. When they're done at some undisclosed point in the future, then they'll reconsider working on TF2. Just like people thought they would reconsider working on TF2 after they finished Half-Life Alyx, just when people thought they would reconsider working on TF2 after they finished CS2, all these other projects that Valve was working on. Yeah, they'll come back to TF2. Yeah, totally, fine. Surely.
They actually believe this. This is not only useless, but also
I think this guy is just cherry picking a handful of, like, that screenshot proves it. He's just like he's just cherry picking comments off of Reddit.
That were working on it and give some of them to Team Fortress 2, just like CS2, Half-Life Alyx,
Yes,
and
like,
the Steam.
Valve has pretty much abandoned TF2 at this point. A little Easter egg does not change the reality whatsoever. Like, how is this bolstering what he's saying in the video? This is just true.
Deck. They actually believe this. This is not only
Yes. Players have every right to assume and consistently assume and understand that Valve has abandoned Team Fortress 2 in the fullest of capacities. All they've been willing to do is put hats and maps into the game for the past 8 years, right? Aside from them finally dealing with the bots and doing the 64-bit update just to make the game stable so they can keep throwing more hats in the game. That's all they've been willing to do.
Useless, but
Richter,
also,
can you start banning people that say Hawk 2? I appreciate it. Any person that makes that joke, just ban them immediately.
counterproductive, because you could be arguing about something valuable, or doing something more valuable, like helping new players get into the game, finding community servers that you like and sharing that information around, or just being—
Dude, like, are you just, like, dismissing that all of the concerns that were brought up about Deadlock and Valve working on Deadlock primarily manifested when TF2 was still unplayable? And people were upset with Valve because they were making a new game while leaving TF2 unplayable, and players still are rightfully concerned that Valve will continue to ignore TF2 in favor of working on this new game.
A good Team Fortress player. You could spend your
Like, sure, a game company is perfectly allowed to make a new video game, but like the consumer has every right to be upset. Like, if they're still offering this other game as playable, maybe fix it, give it a little more love and attention. Hello?
entire weekend talking about Scout's advanced case of gingivitis, and it would be more valuable than howling at the moon about a game that does not care about us. Was the quote-unquote fight we quote-unquote had with quote-unquote Overwatch not embarrassing and—
This has nothing to do with Overwatch. Why are you bringing this up? This has everything to do with Valve neglecting the game and then working on a new one for years. Hello? What? What the fuck? I'm losing my mind.
enough? We really gotta make ourselves look stupid a third fucking time? Now, this one here is a bit more of a niche topic, so I don't really mind if you guys skip or whatever, but I want to talk about this really weird phenomenon I've seen where people criticize new taunts made in the workshop by saying that they are emotes and not taunts. Now, at first I wasn't gonna bring this up because it's a small topic and I try to keep these videos from getting—
So allow me to state my stance on this again before he goes into this. Allow me to state my stance on this again. An emote is not a taunt. What is a taunt? A taunt is an action where you are jeering at another player. An emote is something that does not do that. An emote is an activity, it is an action that has nothing to do with insulting or jeering at the other player. That's just the bare bones basic definition of what a taunt is. Now, what is a taunt in Team Fortress 2? Taunts in Team Fortress 2 satisfy that first task of jeering at the other players, making them upset at you when you perform that action, right? But what else do taunts do? Taunts were a very meticulously and delicately handled facet of the game's characters, where all of the taunts, all of their actions, and the voice lines that are baked into them inherently flesh out the character personalities. They're all unique to the individual characters. And when the player performs that taunt, it further immerses them into that game and as the character they are playing. That is what taunts do. That is the purpose they serve. And then when Valve decided to turn them into a microtransaction, the new purpose they only served is to offer dopamine for the person purchasing that microtransaction. They lose their purpose. Now they only serve to be things that people spend money on. They add no value. They are not taunts. These are cute little actions and activities that people feel good with. They serve no real purpose in the video game. This is why I greatly dislike emotes and also taunts that have nothing to do with the mercenaries being acted out by them. The pyro twirling around a little sparkly wand or the scout bumbling around on a fucking pogo stick or a toy scooter have nothing to do with the very intentional, meticulous reason with the taunts they originally added. They're not simply to jeer at other players. They were built and designed to flesh out the characters and contribute to the full picture and world and the tone of TF2, which I would say about 95% of modern taunts do not do. They are extraneous fluff that do not add anything to TF2 at all. This includes things like conga, man aerobics, and the Kazatsky kick. Yes, one or two as a one-off thing, just like a goofy hat, you know, when it was the exception and not the norm, when it was a, you know, like a loose, oh, it's like a little quirky thing here and there, that's palatable, that's acceptable. But then when they're the norm, when almost all taunts have been added as these little wacky activities, riding little mini vehicles around, playing an instrument, pyro playing inside of a kiddie pool, none of the taunts they've added come close to the charm, the tone, and the deep intention that the original taunts added to the game. That is why I do not like emotes, and that is why I do not like modern taunts. I think that's a fair argument to make. Feel free to disagree. But that's what I think. It should have stopped at the conga. Conga was all we needed. It didn't need to go beyond that, but once Valve realized, oh, people will spend money on this, then it just went to shit. Something that was like hats and unusual effects and shit, that's just stuff added on top. But when you take a facet of the game that was originally baked in to define the tone and the personalities of the characters, and then transform that into a microtransaction only serves to water down and degrade what the game was meant to be. That is why I do not like emotes. That is why I do not like taunts.
Getting too long, but then the Buddha of Enlightenment told me that I should reconsider, so I've decided to go into it. This is possibly one of the stupidest, and also not just stupidest, but I don't know how else to say this, most touristy opinions I think I've ever heard.
Oh, you're a tourist. I fail to see how my opinion is that of a tourist. Just consume product and move on to other product. You're just stupid. If you have any concerns with things being added into the game, you're just a tourist. Yeah, this feels like bait. Like, this isn't real. This is not a real argument. This is oh god.
Heard. I shouldn't have to explain this to people who play the game, but the taunting part of a taunt is not the animation itself. It's the fact
Yes,
that—
it is. Very much so, it is part of the animation itself. But I need to do the hokey pokey in TF2, exactly.
when you get emoted on, Valve takes a picture of you and photoshops it heavily to make you look dumber and smellier, and then posts it on all of their social media. And also, it's the act of taunting that makes it taunting. It's the fact that—
But the act in and of itself has to be a jeering act that makes the player upset. What is there taunting? What part of the action of riding a toy scooter or bouncing on a pogo stick or riding a little balloonicorn, riding a little toy, or riding around in a mini ambulance or a fucking little boat, how are any of those taunting actions?
when you taunt, you cannot defend yourself. So that when the enemy's kill cam zooms in on you, you are quite literally saying, haha, I got you, and I got you so bad that I can go through this entire animation, and you can't stop me, and your team is so bad that they can't stop me. It is literally doing a neener in their face.
I fail to see how there's a neener aspect to the pyro waving a twinkly wand around. I don't get the same impact. I will say, the default sniper taunt of him waving after getting a headshot on me is infinitely more effective than him playing the fucking didgeridoo. There's nothing taunting about him playing an instrument. It does not elicit a response in me. There is no taunting action of this at all. It's just him playing an instrument. It's a little activity he partakes in.
Content of the emote is basically irrelevant. It's the fact that you're—
What do you mean it's irrelevant? It has everything to do with the specific action they are performing, otherwise it is not a taunt. How is riding a miniature ambulance or a lawnmower a taunt? Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, lol, get owned, versus you just got killed by me, but now I'm gonna go drive around on a little scooter. Like, what? These are very, very different things, and to simply blanket them under the generalization of them performing an act after they get a kill is nonsense. By this logic, just simply standing still and doing nothing is equal to a taunt. Because they're performing an action where they're going out of their way to not play the game. That is equally as insulting. Just go AFK for a few seconds. It's therefore the same thing in this guy's eyes.
doing
I don't think I'm being... If anything, he's being reductive. I fail to see how I'm being reductive.
that makes people upset. And many taunts that are apparently the big toxic taunts that people want are also not necessarily taunts depending on the context. Much like how many things that you wouldn't say are taunts can be taunts depending on the context.
Like what? You gonna give an example?
Dancing normally isn't a particularly taunting or aggravating thing to see, but when someone starts dancing after killing you like they're dancing on your body, suddenly that is a much more legitimate taunt. Again,
Not really.
because the context matters. If you do it after you kill someone, it's a taunt.
Not
because
really. Again, as we just said, it's infinitely more effective and much more jeering when the specific action is a taunting action and not, oh lol, I killed you, now I'm gonna show an x-ray. Like, what the fuck? So by his logic, anything is fine. Whatever action it is, it doesn't fucking matter. You can have the heavy sit down and read a fucking book. You can have like the scout manifest a little fumo out of thin air and go, look fumo. Like he holds up a fumo to the kill cam. Therefore, that's okay. Like I feel like this is just very, very, like this is reductive. Now, like according to this logic, anything is fine. This is not good.
it's the act of emoting that makes it taunting.
No, it's not. Emotes are not taunts. Oh my god. the act of the I hate modern times where it's now any other it's now an emote. It's all emotes now. Oh fuck.
The context, again, really does matter, because if you just taunt at nobody, no one's going to get upset. Unless you encounter the most mentally unstable person on Earth, even the most toxic taunts in the game, without some kind of engagement, aren't going to piss anyone off. Again, the thing you're taunting them over is the fact that they got killed in the video game. I also find the entire concept of this argument kind of strange. Like, so what if something is a taunt? This is a game I'm constantly told needs to be more casual and to ignore the competitive side of its community.
Oh my god, what does this have anything to do with this? It has nothing to do with competitive play. It has nothing to do with esports. It's all about shit talking the other player in a video game, which has been which was a thing in video games before video games disallowed communication features of all kinds. That's been a thing in video games since their fucking inception. That's part of fucking internet and online culture. Has nothing to do with the game being competitive or not. Oh my god.
And the non-verbal communication of Team Fortress 2 is something that is, like, incredibly integral to its community. But
yes, the non-verbal communication that fleshes out the characters more and tells the other player, hi, I'm laughing at you because I am taunting at you. There is no communication of I'm taunting at you when the scout manifests a toy scooter out of thin air, or rides a skateboard, or eats a bucket of fucking chicken. Huh?
I guess now this is somehow a bad thing, even though, again, whether or not something is a taunt is depending on how you use it. Schadenfreude was animated specifically to make it so that you can laugh at your opponent after you—
Yes, this is fine, because this is a taunt. This is directly laughing at the person who killed you. No one is complaining about the Schadenfreude. People are complaining about, like, the little goofy vehicles and the little instruments and the cute little activities. No one's complaining about the Schadenfreude. The fuck are you smoking?
You kill them, but I and many other players use it all the time for things that
it is literally pointing and laughing at someone who died. That is the definition of a taunt.
Aren't going to taunt someone for, aren't taunting someone for, or can't taunt someone for. I use it anytime I would want to laugh, whether that be at an opponent that I defeated or at another player that I just think is doing something goofy.
It doesn't mean like it doesn't mean that now any action is allowed and equal, right? Because you can perform a taunt anywhere doesn't suddenly mean that any action you can perform anywhere is therefore a taunt. This is backwards logic.
Latter instances, Schadenfreude is no longer taunting anybody, so is it still a taunt, or is it just an—
Yes! Because the act in of itself is a taunting action. Just because you ride a scooter after you kill someone doesn't make it a taunt. Holy fuck. There's no— oh, I just can't. I cannot. Oh.
Emote. The difference of those two things, of course, being complete semantic nonsense. Much like how—
So I guess definitions for words don't exist anymore. Like they're like, I guess emote and taunt are synonymous now. Definitions mean nothing. All these words mean the same thing.
How this entire argument is complete nonsense. And this might seem like a small issue, and it's really not even an issue at all. But to me, this represents one of the many small layers of crap that Team Fortress 2 discussion is becoming. Team Fortress 2 is not degrading because of a lack of attention from Valve. Not that I think that that's helping, of course. It's
yes. What?
Degrading because the people who actually care about it, at least in my opinion, seem to be increasingly less inclined to talk back to the people that oftentimes don't even play this game and either way don't like it. The kind of—
So apparently people who hold the opinions I do don't play the game now? What? This is just a lot of just bad faith arguments and just like manifesting shit out of thin air. Oh my god.
The people who want
so you just don't like TF2 and you don't play it if you have any concerns or criticisms with the content that Valve is adding.
Fortress 2 to not be something that you enjoy because of how good of a game it is, but to be a battleground where we complain about things and masquerade behind the idea that we're saving Team Fortress 2 while
Alright, dude, I'm done. This video is fucking pathetic. It's like now we have to equate the gameplay to these things that are actually degrading to the gameplay and the game's art style and the tones and themes and the meticulously thought out, just everything in the game. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Oh my god, dude, this is ridiculous.
Turning it to how good it once was, even if in reality you're not. But I can't reveal too much about my next— I think it's important that we don't get complacent, and also that we be realistic
gonna talk
about
about
the things that we ask
Does
for
he
and can
fucking
do to
defend
make the game
casual
better,
mode? Please tell me he doesn't defend casual mode. If he defends casual mode, I'm done. I'm so done. Please, God, I hope he doesn't defend casual. Oh, God.
especially for the people that it actually needs to be better for, like new players. And these are things that will improve the game no matter what Valve does, whether they fix the game and start maintaining Team Fortress 2 more seriously, or if we wake up tomorrow and there's a Team Fortress 2 announcement, the servers have been cut down and we're left to fend for ourselves. And the backbone of these efforts are of course the community servers. You all already knew that. It's the not-so-secret sauce of any community-focused anything in this game, and I know that people aren't going to want to hear that you should just play on community servers, but I think there's more to community servers than just a place to play the game. They exist as a tool that we can use to build up our community, learn about our game, make stuff and test it that's really cool for it, and
Yeah, this is now he's speaking some truth here. This is how the game functioned for the first 4 years of its lifespan.
communicate with Valve, as crazy as that sounds. The first thing I want to talk about is casual, because casual is a myth. It is a scam. Nobody actually likes it, and it was
Thank you.
invented by Gabe Newell to fuel the suffering sphere he has on his desk. Now, of course, I'm not saying that people are lying necessarily, but of course, if you are and I find out, you will be forcing my hand to go to the county fair mirror maze and put up a shotgun trap. Like, clearly, people do like casual, at least evident by the player numbers, but I don't know.
They don't have a choice. Their only choice to interact with Valve servers is casual mode. Like, you shouldn't be using player counts as indicative of casual, like, being enjoyed. Where else are they gonna go?
Know if people actually like casual.
They won't go to community servers because Valve absolutely annihilated the means by which players can interact with them or be directly or indirectly exposed to them, thanks to Meet Your Match.
Casual as much as they like the convenience that casual provides. Because first off, casual is not a good game mode in my opinion.
Thank you.
Secondly, it falls prey to and exacerbates many of the problems that random queuing in general across the industry has. And C, I don't think that the fixation on it functioning is necessarily that good for the community. I have
That elicits a very strong negative response in me.
absolutely no idea what Valve was thinking when they made the Meet Your Match update. Or
I am now convinced this person has not been playing TF2 for very long. If you were not able to discern the very clear and obvious intention with what they were doing with Meet Your Match, you started playing TF2 after 2016. Or you simply were not paying attention. If you look at Valve implementing a casual and a competitive mode into the game, both using skill-based matchmaking, if you look at Valve adding a new game mode that directly catered to the niche minority of players that engaged with a homebrew version of TF2 labeled as competitive, if you view that as not understanding Valve's intentions, you're not paying attention. It is Valve very clearly trying to take their game and turn it into another esport. That was their very clear and obvious intention. And they fucked it.
I guess, more accurately, I have no idea what they were thinking when they changed how casual was formatted in Meet Your Match, and I have absolutely no clue why
God, I cannot wait for my video to get done.
they thought it was a good
I should be working on that right now, but I'm watching this.
idea to hit the button. This is one of the most iconically Valve solutions to a quote-unquote problem I've ever seen. A bunch of half measures that don't actually make anything better, and then ignorance. Trying to modernize quick play and to make it so that casual has more competitive integrity is not necessarily that bad of an idea, but making the
It's a horrible idea. You don't understand the game if you can even give an inch of leeway to implementing and making the game more competitive.
casual mode more competitively minded and then not following through all the way is borderline idiocy. Not that many people want to play a skill-based best of 3, let's see who's better at the game Team Fortress 2 match, and all of the people who do want to play that don't want to play it 12v12 on Valve's archaic maps with random.
Yeah, they want to go play on their own servers with their own balancing because they want to play something that is not Team Fortress 2.
random crits and random spread and no class limits. At the very least, 12v12 casual is not a good competitive format because it wasn't designed to be. It was designed to be fun for the most people.
No, it was very explicitly originally designed to be a competitive vehicle. It was designed to be a vehicle towards competitive matchmaking for their new competitive mode. All you have to do is go back and look at what Valve did with intention in the opening months of Meet Your Match to understand that they tried to make TF2 a new esport. And then they gradually walked it back to make it loosely function like quick play, just so they could get people to play the game again and so it wasn't hideously broken. They wanted to modernize their queuing system like every other game at that time. You sweet, sweet summer child. You have no idea what Valve was doing, and I cannot wait for my video to be done so I can explain it to you and show you the very clear and direct intention that Valve had to turn TF2 into a new esport.
Possibly.
When they already had a perfectly fine and functioning system to put players inside of servers that they just needed to improve by a little bit more. But no, instead of taking care of the already established system that was quick play and improving it even more, which they had consistently done through the end of 2015 and into 2016. No, sir. They will simply take this amazingly functional system that put players inside of servers at the click of a single button, just like every other modern matchmaking system does, with all the other features baked in to make a balanced game without having to rely on a simple, silly, stupid, and asinine idea of a broken matchmaking system to organize evenly balanced matches from the start in a game like Team Fortress 2, which it cannot be done for. No, they're going to throw out that entire system and introduce a new competitive matchmaking system which has not worked from day one to simply modernize the game. And why would they try to turn TF2 into an esport? All about this. It's all about that growth. It's all about that dollars. Valve hit it big with Dota. Then they hit it big with Counter-Strike. Those games were exponentially growing, and they wanted the same thing with TF2. And they tried their fucking hardest to make that happen, but they couldn't. Their hands were tied because they had made a different game that was not a fucking esport.
Could be. And of course it failed, but the thing is that there's a clear distinction in the kind of gameplay that different people want out of Team Fortress 2, especially for tryhards and casuals, two groups of players that generally have a hard time getting along. Turns out mashing a bunch of people who have conflicting views on how the game should be played maybe doesn't result in the best game of Team Fortress.
I'm going to stop the video here because I'm getting tired. But to address the thing in chat, quick play was improved for 4 years. Casual mode was fixed for 2 years. Casual mode wasn't improved for 2 years, it was fixed for 2 years, as Valve gradually walked it back to behave almost like quick play, just without all the other quality of life features that made quick play better. God, I cannot wait for this video to be done. Oh, I'm so excited because it's just... I gotta go work on it. I have to go work on it. I have to get this shit done. Oh, man. Oh, God. Yeah, that's 3.5 hours of watching other people's content. I think I ought to stop it here. Valve ever thought TF2 being esports actually delusional? Yes. Yes. It was delusional. But do you think they cared? Nope. They did not. They saw dollar signs. They saw growth. And so what did they do? They destroyed their fucking game. So, anyways, thanks for chilling. Thanks for hanging out. Y'all are great. Thanks for all the donations. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. And I will see you guys next time. I'll probably stream at some point again next week. I'm going to try to keep it at like once a week as I work on this video, because obviously I want to spend a lot of time focusing on making this video. So maybe once a week, probably in the evening times around here is what I'm going to stream. I want to play Noida. I might try Noida on stream. I just bought it, and I want to play that game because it looks really fun. I might try that out next time I stream, so keep your eyes peeled. And if you want notifications for when I go live, join the Discord in the description below. You get notifications for when I'm live or for when I upload a video. You can't talk in there, but otherwise you can, you know, notice when I go live. And appreciate it. Y'all take care, and I will see y'all next time.